It is the curse of working with Stuttering John at noon before coming onto my own show. That's what happens. Now it's better. Hey. Hello, darkness, my old friend. This is what happens, man. Um, yeah, this is what happens when I get I'm working with Stuttering John early in the day. I'm like unhooking my stuff to kind of like this is the hey the yeah. What was I saying? Oh, I was saying happy Thursday and welcome to the show. And thank you guys for waiting an extra hour for me to hop on because I have a family FaceTime every Thursday at 3 o'clock, and we don't skip that for anybody. And this show, as much as it's grown and become a thing of beauty, and I thank you guys for that. And I think our 411 Patreon subscribers now, I can't believe it. Unbelievable. Thank you guys so much. And all the folks giving stars over at Facebook in a valiant attempt to appear not to be Russian. I appreciate you guys very much doing the same thing. There's still this weirdness. Yeah. Over the course of, kind of making this work on all fronts, it's a friggin' adventure, people. It really is. And while it is difficult, and while there is a lot of work to be done, and while there is all this stuff that is going on, while I try to get this thing up and on its feet, right? All the time I'm doing this stuff, it occurs to me how little work by comparison it is if you have like an other person in studio. I mean, like CSL is doing massive work reminding you guys to help support the show, and of course helping with finding the Motang clips and that kind of stuff when they go down. And I can't thank him enough for that. But Steph has like 4 people. There's no sound on Facebook. There's sound everywhere else. 417. What's up? I will go over and see what's happening on the lovely and talented Facebook. You guys are always the problem child, always an issue, always, what's going on? Creative tools, go over here, where I'm going live. I know I'm up live. What's happening? There we go. It says there's audio and everything. You guys can hear that okay? You're Irish? Fantastic. The McGees send their love. It's my island. Now, there should be settings on here or something that allows me to dial you bastards back. Let's see. With this. Google title. Stars. We have, I'm trying, again, I tried to open this up. Yeah, I tried to open this thing up so that it's easier for the real human beings in Facebook to try and exist. But dudes, it is a tooth pull. Thank you, Sandy. Oh, that's the cling, cling. I had to close the page last time because of that. Oh, thank you, Michael. Appreciate that. In the stars, let's see. There we go. All right, that'll do it. Hey, look at that. Let it pop up. Okay. That's fun. There we go. Oh, Leslie, thank you so much. So, sorry, guys. I was just fixing something over at the Facebook page. Sorry if I'm a bit of a mess, too. We have been... so I had a bunch of stuff in storage that's just been sitting there eating money forever. And I decided, since we're all hooked in here and it's probably going to be another 4 to 6 months to have this pod full of stuff dropped off at my house. And then we're just going to sort through it and throw out the stuff. And anything that doesn't spark joy is going to get tossed by the wayside. There's a problem, though. I only buy things that spark joy. And the only things that don't technically spark joy is like technology that has totally outlived its usefulness. And I mean totally outlived its usefulness. Like anything that has a rubber, thank you, Hal Vickery. Oh, it has been too long, good sir. Anything that has a rubber or plastic outsiding that over time begins to decay. You ever, yeah, we're donating a bunch of stuff, but you ever, like, I had a Bluetooth speaker that's really awesome that was in storage, and literally the rubber coating on it started to break down. You guys ever experience that where you're like, oh, I love this thing. Ugh. Make a spark shed? It's very wise. We're this close. Summer's gonna kill me. But we're this close to having to have to buy one of those like roadside shed things and then outfit it with insulation so I don't cook in the summer and freeze in the winter here. But yeah, the rubber degrading thing is so gross. It's friggin' nasty. And but I want to show you a couple of things before we get started today, because it's just madness. Today is Trump delusion syndrome. You know, we were all accused for 4 years of having Trump derangement syndrome and orange man bad, when in reality, dude's just a dick and he's terrible at his job and they can't admit it. And so anybody who's just calling them on the fact that Trump is a fraud and a terrible businessman and a fake billionaire and a serial sexual assaulter and an accused rapist who won't even face his accusers in court, and calls them liars right out of the gate. All those things are true, but we've got Trump derangement syndrome is the idea. It's not that he's run away with every aspect of our democracy that should remain classy and intact. It's that we just don't, it's him. I would argue that what we are seeing right now is Trump delusion syndrome, that these people cannot stop believing everything he says. And thank you. I was my favorite guy on Lab Rats too. So over the course of this, let me do this real quick before we start this nonsense, before we start Trump delusion syndrome today, because we're going to look at some of how they how they respond to some of the legal stuff that they've been doing and what they really believe. It's extraordinary. We'll see some of that. But I want to show you, before that, I want to grab a couple things and show you things that I found in storage that are kind of glorious. Give me 1 second. So, I know some of these will seem ridiculous to by everyone's standards. And I'm not going to, and I'll, you guys know I found that book. There's one more thing. Hold on. I'm doing it. Talk amongst yourselves. Yep. Nope. Thank you, my love. Okay, so this is our show and tell for the day. Okay. First of all, this is something that I barely got to wear once before it was put in storage. And I friggin' love this thing. And I was like, there it is. You know how you do that? It's pretty good being Ballroom. It's a pretty good day. But I found this in storage. Yeah. I mean, you can see through it because it's kind of it's yellow and it's kind of black. But I mean, come on. Come on. I mean, I have to do a workout video in this thing. And it's just been sweating. I literally got this a long time ago, and I was like, I almost chickened out wearing it. But I was like, I'm going to frame this because you guys know what a huge Fletch fan I am. Moon River. I mean, you have to know how important this movie is.
Moon River.
In my
you using the whole fist, Doc?
In my comedy development.
Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time?
So if you haven't seen the movie Fletch, go watch the movie Fletch. And if you watch it once and you're like, I don't get it, it's not that funny, I don't understand it, watch it again, then watch it again, and then die laughing. That's how it works. Some stuff is too subtle for modern audiences right out of the gate, it would seem. But yeah, okay, so amazing, right? I'm gonna do a workout video wearing that. I'm gonna find some way to do it. Okay, second thing, this thing, it's a piggy bank. It's so cheap, but it's so cool. And I had it for a while, and it, you guys might recognize this. but it's just like a little coin bank. It's plastic. It's rubber, you know. Thanks, Amy. But I mean, it cost me a bag of sand, and not without a fro and a headband. That's right, CSL. Is the movie on Netflix or Hulu? I don't know. It might be on one of them. It would seem to be. But it's worth a purchase, by God. Yeah. So, see? It's like you were there. Throw me the idol. I throw you the whip. So, yeah. It's, and by the way, I don't know if you've noticed this before, but a lot of people notice this statue, right? They know it. They know what this is. They're like, okay, this is like, you know, some sort of golden idol. They barely focus on it. This is from the original Raiders. This is from when they, oh, watch yourself, Hal Vickery. That's cruel. You know, this is what Indiana Jones gets the very first time, and Belloc takes it away from him. It's a fertility goddess, and she's giving birth. That's why she's making this face. Look at this. There's a little person coming out. This is on Prime Hulu. Excellent. Ew, right? Seriously. Did you ever notice that? I'm just saying, it's not your normal. Yeah, she's making that face because she's having a baby. It's a fertility idol. So there you go. I mean, who knows that? You do now. Yeah, how can I give this up? I know. You were today years old, right? Her poop has eyes, run. Yeah. So yeah, so I'm gonna put I do a thing whenever I go to the bank. I get like if I have a $5 bill in my pocket, I get dollar gold coins, and then I put them in piggy banks for Camden, my son. He's 9 now, and so I just kind of as a habit do that. I should have a daily item. It's a good idea, Krista, because believe me, we've got months of this shit. So anyways, and you're going to love the third one. Wait, there's one more. There's one more. This is so exciting. I can't believe I'm revealing this. This is I mean, this is not, I mean, there's a bunch of things, not the least of which, this is a bonus item. This is my little Boba Fett. He's dusty. He's been in a box. My Boba Fett. Original Boba Fett. So this is left over from my old house. Now, some people may know that my old house in Venice was called Hotel California because everybody would come and stay there for free because I was the working actor, and if I had a spare bedroom, it's just like, I'll just squat in your house for 7 years, give or take. Did I live in Chinatown? I did. I used to. But so I had I put this next to my door, this next item, right next to the bedroom door, because when you have all these roommates and people kind of coming and going all the time, it's kind of necessary. It's a sex light. It's got a button on the side of it. I took the batteries out because it'd been sitting with batteries in it for a long time. But you put this, and it turns on like an on-air light. And that lets everybody in the house know not to come in your room, except you, I suppose. But the point is, you put this on I had this right outside the door. So, and I'm like, don't come in. Better than a sock, indeed. Hal also reported to say where Biden is going to his lake house. All of a sudden, yeah, he's meeting with people. Yes, Jeffrey Toobin needed his own, but this was crucial. It hangs on the wall. It's just a little battery operated thing. It's pretty spectacular. Do I still make money off lab rats? Of course. in varying degrees. Whatever happened to a do not disturb sign? Well, this is more specific. People might blow past a do not disturb sign the way they wouldn't in this case. So there you go. So that's the third item we found today in the kit. So I thought I'd let you guys enjoy that little piece of wonderment. There has got to be, oh my God. I'm going to see if I get this. Where we go. So the idea, by the way, that Trump's big push right now is that he's going to win. He's going to win Georgia after the recount. He isn't. But they're selling this hard to everybody. Hi, Christina. How are you? This is okay. I need to show you this. This is the attitude in general of. So Trump is going to. The idea is he's going to start his own network. Okay. Now it won't have the fantastic production values of our little show. Hi, Julia. Hello. Thanks, guys, for promoting the show on Twitter and letting people know that it's out there. I appreciate that. That's great. Has Trump staged his coup yet? I think he's going to try. Hey, Krista. It's like, I think the folks on the Facebook thing is actually turning out like friends from school and stuff are starting to show up in the crowd here. It's kind of lovely. Yeah. Trump is completely delusional. That's true. But this is about his sort of followers and supporters. And in general, these folks are carving off a piece. Well, I'll give you an example. First of all, let's go to, this is the Chris Salcedo show. Now, I have not watched this. You guys know I don't prep on all these things. These people aren't worth me watching twice. But you can tell, I know, Kimby, isn't that amazing? Yes, we're back on our regular YouTube channel. You can super chat away and help us out. And then, of course, subscribing at twitch.tv/HalSparks. Or you can give stars on Facebook and Periscope. You can do super hearts. Yeah, and that's everybody, right? Yes, I got everybody. So fire away. What happened to a locking door? It doesn't work. So, yeah. What about the Jay Sekulow story, Trump's lawyer? Which one? We'll get to that in a moment. But check this out. The name of this video is Godless Democrats Celebrate Depravity. Godless Democrats celebrate depravity. This is going to be good. If this guy has pants on during this video, I'm going to be very... I don't know where his upper lip went. I do think, though, that it looks like someone CG'd out his mustache.
Younger and may have been...
Hold on, he's very quiet to me, but maybe not.
A victim of the degradation in the government-run education system. We Americans used to be united in our love and devotion to our armed forces.
Yeah. Did you see the Veterans Day stuff? Did you see Joe Biden and his wife laying a wreath? Did you see all the people on the left thanking people for their service, including myself, including people who disagree with us politically, like Johnny Joey, who I argue with vociferously on Twitter all the goddamn time, and yet my disagreements with and outright arguments with him about politics and policy will never, ever overtake the fact that he served our country honorably and he lost his legs in battle defending our freedom. So he can be for whoever he wants, and I will argue with him as a human being, but I will always do that under the, one step behind my respect for him. So fuck off.
We Americans used to be unanimous in our recognizing a class of volunteers who would train and sacrifice and potentially lay down their lives for their fellow countrymen.
Yeah, so why has Trump never mentioned the Russian bounties on our soldiers to Vladimir Putin? And how did he dare call them losers and suckers? And why did you, Chris Salcido, if that is your real Salcido, not call him out on this?
People they never even met. I say used to because now one political party works to make sure our men and women in uniform are well paid, well equipped, and well trained.
And the other are the Republicans.
The other party, well, they defund the military, they deprive them of life-saving training, and even short them on equipment. That same party is now working.
Oh, you mean George Bush and Dick Cheney when they sent them in Humvees that weren't up armored, and they had to actually, families had to send their loved ones in the battlefield bulletproof vests so they could put them on, they could sit on them so that they wouldn't be blown to pieces? You mean that?
Working to defund our police. I take no pleasure in telling you that truth. It's just the way it is.
No, it isn't. You're full of shit. Goodbye.
In America, we need truth tellers. That's
okay. Well, you showed up just in time, my friend, because here I am.
the subject of tonight's preamble. Without our veterans,
Preamble, get it? Like the Constitution. You might have guessed from the number of flags around me, but the shortage of stars on my flags, that I'm not a big fan of anything that happened after 1830.
our constitutional guarantees would vanish. I saw an internet meme today that read,
Oh, shit, a meme. Wait a minute, isn't Newsmax a meme? I thought they were a meme.
thanks to our veterans, because they protect us from other governments, so all we have to worry about is our own. One of our...
I need an assault weapon so that I can defend myself against a tyrannical government. And by tyrannical government, I mean shoot some soldiers who are there with the FBI and U.S. Marshals to serve a valid warrant.
One of our fundamental rights under the Constitution is the free expression of religion. That fundamental...
Yeah. And the lack of imposition by the government of one religion on anyone else.
right has been under assault from the American left for decades.
What? Under assault by the American left for decades? Oh my God, how so?
Sadly, too many of America's houses of worship have cowered in the face of such un-American attacks.
Cowardly houses of worship. That's right, Jesus worshipers, you're cowards because a good portion of your congregations are older and you don't want them to die, and you can pray at home and via Zoom and stuff until 4 to 6 months when we get a handle on this thing or whatever. But that's not, I mean, that's it. I mean, if you have the faith of a grain of sand or mustard seed, is that what it is? Yeah, faith the size of a mustard seed. You could move mountains or just let your old people die.
Attacks. Praise God that there are still some among us who still stand for their faith as God calls us to do.
And how is that? You mean like, like grabbing a woman by the vagina before she has to, because women should submit? Is that where we're going? Like Jesus would?
A Texas priest, Father James
Who would Jesus mag dump on?
Giuliani was addressing a children's
It's pronounced gelato, and it's delicious.
mass, speaking about St. Paul and Pope Leo the Great. He spoke of how check John Fugelsang for a catch up on Paul. the Pope stood up against Attila the Hun, a ruthless warlord that was threatening to sack Rome. Many of our nation's churches, synagogues, and mosques, they face that same Leviathan in
It's a Leviathan. I mean, there really is no difference between social distancing rules during a pandemic and an attack by Attila the Hun who would chop your grandmother into pieces. Holy God, what is wrong with you?
in the form of the godless Democrat Socialist Party.
Oh, the godless Democrat Socialist Party. I see.
Instead of ignoring this threat, Father Jim spoke the truth.
Uh-oh.
Well, once more, we have St. Paul. I love St. Paul.
Of course you do. He's the mean one.
St. Paul is...
Don't, whatever you do, don't read Matthew, Mark, or Luke, or a good portion of John, and leave Acts alone. It's too much nice stuff in there, too much Jesus-y stuff. But go straight to Paul. By the way, can you step back away from that podium so we can check for a child?
a straight shooter. I think that works especially, don't you think, in Texas?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I think Paul would have shot someone.
He's a straight shooter. He shoots from the hip.
Straight shooter, and he shoots from the hip. You're not going to start singing a Pat Benatar song, are you, sir?
I understand that to mean he talks turkey. Oh.
Are we? I'm sorry, sir. I'm going to have to. You've hit your analogy limit for this single sentence. He's a straight shooter who shoots from the hip and talks turkey.
I understand that to mean he talks turkey. Oh, these idioms and metaphors. He speaks his truth and let the
just get to it.
Consequences fall where they may. It has come to my attention that there is on a school Facebook some celebrations over Biden being elected president. That's your business. You can do that in your own realm. But please,
yeah, it's on a school Facebook page.
Remember, and this is my role to say this, and you want to go to court about this, that's your prerogative. You want to have a fisticuffs fight about it, I don't do that. I'm just going to take a stand and let the pieces fall where they may.
All right, get to it. Are you talking turkey or shooting from the hip right now?
Standing up for...
Standing up for what? What I ultimately saw was that they shouldn't congratulate Joe Biden on a Catholic school. I guess we're assuming it's a Catholic school Facebook page. Jesus Christ. I mean, that's basically the same as the Pope punching Attila the Hun in the dick. Sure.
The teachings of Christ, standing up for God's will. Not even the Pope does that these days.
Not even the Pope does this. Pope who? You mean that guy's boss?
Father Jim wasn't done telling the truth to his Catholic school teachers about Beijing Biden.
Beijing Biden.
He is a pro-abortionist. The Catholic Church is anti-abortion.
No, he's not a pro-abortionist. He's Catholic himself. He wouldn't have one himself. He doesn't believe in it personally. But he doesn't believe in him imposing his religious beliefs on other people. Are we all going to stare past our glasses like... I have to look down like this because if the laser beams come out of my eyes, they melt my glasses.
I presume that you are not discussing in the classroom the situation of abortion that goes against what the Catholic Church teaches. I presume you are doing that. I have to let you know, any more...
You presume we aren't doing it or we are doing it?
More postings about celebrating Biden, who is a pro-abortionist and not a good Catholic at all, in name only.
Not a good Catholic at all in name only. Again, he has to be sniffing the same stuff Trump is sniffing at this point. You can't crisscross. He's crossing the streams, metaphorically speaking.
Well, I have to do my duty and protect the faith and protect these children. And I suggest to you that there would be jobs in jeopardy.
All legitimate religions have a dim view of
legitimate religions.
Abortion on demand. And it's not okay for Catholics to support a political party that's...
No one's supporting abortion on demand. Honest to God. No one is for like a pregnant woman hours before she gives birth running up and going, kill it, get it out of me, just chop it up. It's fully fine. It's fine. It's a healthy baby. I'm just tired of this whole thing. They're like, no, sorry. You can have a C-section, I guess, and we can take it out of you, but it's gonna live. You're gonna have to put it up for adoption, you nutcase.
that celebrates the slaughter of children in the womb. And it's not
Jesus.
okay to support a political party that openly attacks your own church.
Ooh, you just called the Pope full of shit.
The truth is,
Thanks, Kim.
you can't be a practicing Christian, Jew, or even Muslim and also be a practicing Democrat socialist.
Go forth and kill all, man, woman, and suckling infant. Old Testament's a bitch. I'm just saying, and all three of those religions share that book as gospel.
People of faith, in particular Christians, are called by virtue of basic
Who in particular? So Jews and Muslims, you're on the fence, buddy.
human decency, not to mention Christ Jesus, to oppose dark forces with all of your might.
No, actually. All of your might would be would call for like a nuclear first strike, obviously.
And I'm willing to get into the foray of this. You want to celebrate something about this man who is without value, and you don't like it? Well, that's your problem. This is my poll.
Okay, again, he's overlapping. Is he leaving sentences out or adding sentences before other stuff?
Pulpit and my parish and my church, and I am going to bespeak.
Sorry, you're going to bespeak? I thought this was God's house.
Pulpit and my parish and my church, and I am going to bespeak what the church teaches. Let the pieces fall where they may. And so, boys and
girls, women should submit to their husbands. If you eat shrimp, you're going to hell. If you wear two types of fabric on the same body, it is the same as being gay in the eyes of the Lord, and so we have to stone divorced women to death. Is that where we're going? I mean, if we're sticking to the letter.
We are in for quite a time if this man is actually declared the President of the United States, along with his Vice President, whose name I won't even pronounce, who is grossly
Harris?
anti-Catholic. So,
She's grossly anti-Catholic? Is that why she's running with a Catholic?
if you're going to celebrate the fact that that person is close to being president, don't do it on our time.
Not on your time. Time comes from reading it.
End of discussion.
End of
Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
discussion. In America, the state is prohibited.
End of discussion. You know, freedom of speech. Huh? Yeah, I had no idea Kamala hates Joe Biden mainly for religious reasons.
Prohibited from using its awesome power to interfere or change church doctrine in any way. The faithful, they are protected courtesy of our veterans under our first guarantee.
You mean the First Amendment? He's talking about the First Amendment, which provides for free association, freedom of speech, and freedom of religion, which, if faithfully executed, is a direct violation of the first two commandments. If you support specifically the Constitution of the United States, the First Amendment and the Second Amendment obviously violates the "thou shalt not kill" part. You know, it's not selective; it's pretty direct. But the first one is "thou shalt have no other gods before me. I'm a jealous God. Honor thy father and thy mother." Neither of which are like, you don't have to associate with your mother and father if they turn out to be awful people. You don't have to, if your dad goes to jail because he's a serial killer and your mom helped. You're not responsible for going to jail with them. You can go home, so you can freely associate. You don't have to honor them. You can just go tell people you were adopted, whatever you need to do, and you can have any religion you want. And you can be Jewish, you can be Muslim, you can differ with your fellow Christians on what qualifies as Christianity: Baptist, Lutheran, Presbyterian, and on and on. which violates directly the First Amendment if you did that. So just saying that. I mean, obviously, there's no. I wasn't talking to real adopted people. I'm talking to, just you could say you're cool and that you're adopted.
America's faith community isn't like pro sports where they actually pay their players to be professional protesters, to trash the country, spit on our flag, and support.
I don't know. Has anybody seen a professional football player spit on the flag?
Thugs rampaging and looting and burning
black people
through America's streets. If you want to support the filthy, disgusting, inhuman practice of abortion on demand, that's up to you. In a free
no one does.
Country where that insanity is still legal, have at it.
Oh, so have at it. So you're saying if Republicans get in power, and a country has abortion on demand, where women just walk up and, or their husband makes them, which is probably more in line with this guy's beliefs. Just go for it. Just go for it. We as Americans don't object. We'll keep giving you whatever foreign aid you want. Have at it. It's not about ethics. It's about geography.
But you cannot. Nor will over 72 million Americans allow you to compromise God's will and his word just to deliver a victory for the godless party. And we...
Well, I think the issue with the Democrats is that there are multiple gods, including one that doesn't include Jesus, which would be the Jews you mentioned earlier, and the Muslims as well. There's over 2,000 religions practicing. You're like vast majority are Christian, absolutely. But they don't all agree with you. So where do they go?
And we will tell the truth about you. So go ahead, celebrate the depravity, the sloth, and the inhumanity of the Democrat Socialist Party, all you wish. But do it on your own damn time.
Ooh. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Thank you, Janet. This is, all right. So this is what they think happened. Oh, God. Really? Okay, the last time we saw him, he only had one iPad. Now, apparently, I guess they've been flapping the paper, and people are noticing that it's either duplicates or it's been, or blank. So now Rudy's got 2 iPads. By the way, I thought big tech was out to get Donald Trump. Why in the world is Rudy supporting Apple, run by a gay who doesn't even know his name is Tim Apple? I mean, honestly, that's where are your standards, Rudy? Where? Tim, wait, Tim Apple is gay? Of course he is. With a name like Tim Apple, wouldn't he be? I mean, it's that or a character in a bedtime story. Tim Apple is the Antichrist. I don't know if he's that charming. Has Hal gotten his master's degree in biblical studies? I do. I wrote a 7-5 paper on the Old and New Testament. The New Testament is trash, has nothing to do with each other. Well, of course you would think that. You went into getting that degree with that idea and only sought things that would prove it to you, which is what an asshole fake Christian does. I don't know what's with his lips. Again, he wipes his face a lot, so he sprayed the orange. Some of it is starting to fade. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but like he had a uniform orange color the other day when he put these up, and he may have shot all these at once, but it looks like he rubbed a towel on the right side, and then the left side just kind of stayed orangey, that kind of thing. Oh, he has manila folders too? Yeah, the orange, I don't know what this is. I think he just fell asleep on a bag of circus peanuts instead of smashing his face into it. He does look a bit like an eraser. The orange makeup is also going back into his hair. No, this part is puffed up and this part's laid down. It's the same amount of hair, but I think he naps I think we're all learning that Rudy Giuliani naps on his right side. When he blacks out, it usually is like that. You know what I mean? So you can count on it. Why hasn't Giuliani run for president yet? He did. Another episode of Hal and the Giant Peach. Harvey Bent. Succotash overdosed. You guys. Yeah. He hangs upside down. I don't know. See, I come from the school that's like pre-True Blood, where, you know, vampirism was emblematic of a certain type of royalty, and that the storyline beyond the, you know, Vlad the Impaler and his wife who bathed in the blood of innocent children to try and prolong her life. Beyond that story, the mythology of vampires, you know, is all based on a certain kind of time. What's the big villain in your time period? And the vampire story came largely, at least as it grew, out of hyper cruel royalty. And the royalty lived in these castles. They were all very pale. A lot of them were inbred, so they were hemophiliacs. There is a disease called erythropoietic protoporphyria, which is a disease that causes your skin to crack in the sunlight. And a lot of inbred people had it when it was multi-generational back then. Yeah, I just whipped that phrase out of nowhere. You're welcome. But it's true. And so vampires were very, always considered very elegant, and and they looked like, they were royalty. They were a very exclusive club. But what the poor did was tell stories about how, yeah, even though they've got really nice houses and they've got all this food, they can't eat it. They have to drink the blood of people because they're bloodsuckers, that idea. And that they tell this story about them in some ways simply to distance themselves from their own envy and desire of being royalty at some point, and to keep people from being sort of enticed to believe in the power of monarchies. This is what the purpose of a lot of old stories are. And so the idea was that vampirism was an exclusive club that only a few could belong to, and once you were in it, you could never get out, and it was very sad and scary. Now, because of things like True Blood and Buffy and other stuff, it's like a hip kids club. It's not quite as exclusive as it used to be, and there's a lot of, demi-vampires running around is the story. So, yes, the phrase is, the disease is erythropoietic protoporphyria. Yeah, so anyways, can we go on easy on Vlad the Impaler? Yeah. Yes, Dracula was a real person. There you go. Oh, I won't dish your Buffy. As a matter of fact, the bass player in 01, my band, on the first album, and one of my dear friends, Robert Hall, did the creature effects on Buffy and Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel. So there. It is easy for me to say Hal Vickery. That's true. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe and all that stuff. Okay, so let's see what Rudy has to say today. He's still wearing his pedophile pinky ring. I don't know where the whole thing about pinky rings are signs of pedophilia came from, but it seemed to have popped up at the only time I've ever seen, I'm like, who wears a pinky ring, though, regularly in any way? That doesn't have a lot of other rings, too. It's one thing to have all the rings, and also your pinky, versus just wearing a pinky ring on your right hand, which seems to have some sort of weird, odd symbolism. Mafia people? Okay, sure.
I'm back with Rudy's Common Sense.
Yes, you are, Rudy.
Today, we're going to take a look with common sense.
A look. Okay, first of all, asshole, get a new Apple Pencil. Okay. This is the one that's available now. It charges by sticking to the side of your iPad. Okay? It magnetically sticks to it. This, on the other hand, is the old one that requires you to plug it in to charge in your iPad. You are being paid millions of dollars, and you are a security official apparently your security company sells tons of shit to like oligarchs and psychopaths in Europe, and you can't even update your Apple Pencil, and you lost the cap. I mean, honestly. I have an iPad in my office. I can only use the old pencil. It's lovely, but I'm just saying, he's got 2 of them. He can obviously afford one good one. Why have you... Okay. Probably because his daughter won't talk to him anymore. There's nobody to help Grandpa get all of his shit on one iPad anymore. I'm just saying. Yes, this is Rudy's common sense. And by the way, I do think that the... let's see. There we go. I do think that the trolls who are trying very hard with the Trump 2024 and throwing that in there, good on you for finding another thing to type instead of 2020 now that that's all over. I honestly, and thank you for the stars, by the way. Everybody in Facebook, just even to catch up to the other ones, you guys need to be throwing stars my way like crazy. I'm just saying. You don't have to do a bunch, but a little all the time would be good. Because the shit I put up with the trolls in there. But look at that. Look at this. Look, he lost the... Look, that's what this is. He lost the... There's a little rounded cover. I don't have mine either. I just use the adapter that allows you to plug it into... Where's a... I know I have to have... God knows I have to have an iPhone cable around here somewhere. Lord. But that, thank you. But that, so I just, instead of using the original tip, I use the adapter to protect it, and then I can always just plug it in when I need to and just charge it on its own. But look, I don't want to be an asshole, but that you do 3 ads a show, and he gets as many super chats and shit doing this stuff as I do by far. I mean, what's the top out? What's the paid? Yeah. Dude's had 300,000 views of this video, which is exactly his subscriber base, which means they're paying for it. By the way, that's how you can tell. I mean, there's a reality of how many people will watch stuff versus somebody who subscribes. It's usually slightly lower. But he literally has 353,000 subscribers and 293,000 views, and it's just up today. It'll peter out around 353. They're paying people to watch this shit. They're not paying me to do it, though. He does have Nutty Professor teeth. That is true. But I'm just saying, come on. This dude's a millionaire. Get the new pencil. It's so nice. It just sticks to the side and charges. And then it tells you it's charging. It's lovely. I use the shit out of this thing so I don't go blind while I'm tweeting at all hours. I used to just stay on my phone all the time, but God.
And what remains...
You know what's common sense? Get a new goddamn iPad every time it comes out.
...of the ballot counting, because this election is much closer than any of the networks led you to believe.
Nope.
Last Wednesday. And it is not determined yet.
I think Saturday's when they called it officially. Yeah, it is. You look really tired, Rudy. I'm going to guess you stayed up reading your own notes.
There is a path to victory for the president.
Sure. Does it go through your colon or do you go through his? I just want to know if someone's going to head you off at the path.
Path to re-election. It's not an easy path.
No, it's not. I think it entails a violent insurrection and the murder of Americans.
It's not a definite path.
No, it's definitely not. It's a little hazy, I'm just going to say.
But it's a realistic path.
No, not a realistic path. Not realistic at all. 11 was an inside job. Yeah, Rudy, tell us about Building 7.
And having called this election so early, the big media, big tech.
You mean like Apple? Why would anybody want to give their money to Apple, the first $1 trillion company?
And the Democrat Party is trying to cut that off.
Oh, yeah, they're trying like, just like, unlike every other election for the last 40 years, the Democrats are trying to use the media to call it.
And they're trying to cut off any consideration of it, which is outrageous.
It's outrageous. You look outraged. You seem outraged.
Since they took over a month to allow Al Gore to contest just one state.
Where there was 500 votes difference, and Al Gore ultimately won that state. You dork.
Here, there are a number of states at issue, and a significant amount of evidence of rampant fraud.
Rampant fraud. Yes, this is true. I saw a case where a woman voted on behalf of her dead mother. Of course, it was for Trump. But who's counting?
All they say on television is there's no evidence of fraud.
Widespread systemic fraud. There's obviously evidence of dickheads. And by the way, let's say, just for the sake of argument, you're planning on running an election scheme that involves you crying fraud for months and then seeing it actually play out. At what point would you, to shore up your argument, not create artificial accounts of fraud to go, see, look at that. It's like being an arsonist who gets himself a job at the fire department and everybody thinks he's a master at predicting where the next fire will be. And then they realize, oh, he's setting them.
I'm going to now show you lots of evidence of fraud.
Great, let's hear it. I can see it. You got a red clip on this. Obviously, this stuff is dangerous.
There's one thing for certain.
Okay, one thing for certain. You have 2 iPads, and yet you're showing us printed material on a show you could have put some of this shit on screen from, right? Is that what we're...
About this election.
Yes, they already called Arizona for Biden, and they called it again. This is ridiculous.
Not certain who won it. It's certain that this was the most dirty, the most fraudulently conducted election on the part.
That's true, actually. The red counties that refuse to cure ballots are disenfranchising Democratic voters into the hundreds of thousands. Prove me wrong.
Of the Democrats than any in recent history. And we're going to show you just why. And we're going to begin by concentrating on 2 states.
Wait, why'd you put the evidence down? I thought we were going to see the evidence. All we saw right then was a stack of paper with a clip on it. Why do we do that? You can't just pick it up and then put it back down. It's evidence.
The state of Pennsylvania and the state of Michigan. We're going to concentrate on those 2 because
because we need both of those to get 270, and we're not going to.
That's where we've been able to concentrate our investigation originally, and the evidence in both states is overwhelming. So in the state...
The evidence that in red districts they were throwing out mail-in ballots for Biden because they wanted to tip the scales? You mean that kind of stuff? Sure.
In Pennsylvania, what you basically have...
It's Pennsylvania, by the way. There's no R on the end of it. Well, the paper stack looked awful heavy, so proof. Yeah, that's right. It was that was a lot of paper, folks. I would like to say for the record, though, if I may, I have evidence of Rudy Giuliani's criminal activities and proof that he was involved in the destruction of the Twin Towers. This is all right here. Look at it. Why is the news media not reporting on all the evidence now I had to hide it in an 80s metal tab book because no one would think to steal my evidence if it was hidden amongst the how to play Blow My Fuse by Kix and of course guitar electronics for musicians. I figured that would be safe. So, but all of this is all, ba-boom. Ba-boom. I have, not only that, but I've actually written a book, fully illustrated, by the way, of Rudy Giuliani's crimes, and I made it into a box. So, just saying, this book, this is all you can tell this is solid evidence. Oh, God. Asshole.
Is a lawsuit now filed,
A lawsuit.
federal lawsuit,
A federal lawsuit.
seeking to disqualify the votes that were not properly observed. In fact, that weren't observed at all.
Yeah, they were. They just weren't observed by the assholes you brought in the middle of the night.
Mail-in votes are inherently suspicious.
Are they? Are they now? And why would that be, considering there are voter rolls and the ability to cure them is written into every constitution in the entire country, and your neck is scaring me.
By that I mean they are unreliable.
Oh my God. Then why would the president vote by mail? Why is Kayleigh McEnany voted by mail 11 times?
This is not me talking. This is the
It isn't? Who's talking? Oh my God. We're looking at a Rudy Giuliani puppet. Who would shove their hand up this thing's ass?
Supreme Court warning us way back in...
That is a pretty thin folder. I mean, you've got that giant stack of paper. Thanks, Mick. This is... You got this giant stack of paper. You're not going to show us shit. Then you reach over for a folder that clearly has one piece of paper in it. Why don't you just pick up the one piece of paper? I'll tell you why. Because if he holds it up by itself, we'll be able to see through it on camera and we'll know what it says. Show it to us. Pull it out.
Way back in
Whip it out.
2004,
Tug it in.
a case called Griffin against Rugas, Justice Souter announced that mail-in votes are less reliable than in-person votes.
Yes. But the drop-off is like an inch, not a mile. Of course, when someone's in person in front, like, it is way harder to impersonate someone in person, which is kind of an ironic word, in-person impersonation, than it is to do it through the mail. That's why, like, I'm sure he'll do an ad for home title fraud, why it's not done in person. He's reading a bill from the dildo store.
Voting fraud is a serious problem and is facilitated by mail voting.
So obviously, guys, you're the problem.
There are other Supreme Court cases that make that same opinion.
Really? Are they all on one sheet of paper in a folder?
So having decided to go to mail voting, pushed very hard by the Democrats,
who didn't want people to die.
there had to be built in some very...
Stop playing with the little... It's creeping me out, man. He's like, hello. I mean, you can't roll by a dildo store and not go, I mean, come on. Is it really gay if it's not actually a real one? I mean, honestly, who isn't curious? What is he doing?
some very, very strong guarantees that nothing would be done that would compromise the vote. So the major issue, the major device that was placed there
is, why is my face so goddamn orange and my hand frigging pink? Is that the question? Am I missing something? Thank you, DC. The big question here, more than any other thing, is head circus peanut, hands uncooked chicken. It's really annoying. It's super orange. Like, it's, I don't know if, is there some place that do they bob for apples in old orange rinds? Because Hannity is the same orange. Do they all shop at oh, John, it's nice to see you here. And I'm here as well.
is observation. which follows on what happens with absentee ballots. For years, when you examine absentee ballots, it's almost routine. There are three people at least there: the counter, a Republican, and a Democrat.
That's right. That's how it was.
Each one is opened. Envelope is looked at. You check the outer envelope, which is the envelope that provides really the security, because that's the one that's not anonymous. It has the name, the address, voter identification, other things that are indicia of reliability. You can
No, that's the privacy envelope. It doesn't have anything on it. Privacy envelope is the same shit you put in like when you have a check and you don't want people to be able, it's like wrapping it in paper so people don't see that there's a check in there and tear it open and take it. And secondly, can I just say something real quick? Okay, so person here, Republican, Democrat, standing over their shoulders, watching them do this, and he's saying if the privacy envelope isn't involved, then, you know, that's a sketchy part. Well, the privacy envelope is there so that in the process of the mail being delivered, somebody doesn't go, that's not for my guy, and throw it out. Seeing who you voted for and making a decision before it arrives so that the one party is favored or the other. If it's already in the room, privacy envelope or not, it's still a vote.
You can check that against a voting roll. And once that is okay, both sides agree, you open it up. The ballot now virtually becomes anonymous, or should. And then, assuming there's nothing wrong with the inner envelope, every once in a while there is, usually not, then you place that in the voting bin, the votes that are going to be counted.
Great.
The ones
Cool story, bro.
that are suspicious, you put aside.
Right. So let me guess. The Republican gets to, in the Pennsylvania counties, put all the Democrats' mail-in ballots aside, not trusting a single one of them, and the county assessor who works for the elector's office there in that county doesn't call anyone to cure a ballot, artificially lowering Biden's vote count. Is that about right? Are we about on the same page? Cool.
And many are put aside, 10, 20% in a usual absentee contest.
Nope.
They tried to
1% found fraud, 5% set-asides. That means the 4% or 90%, or 80%, I guess, technically in this 1 in 5, whatever, ends up getting counted, even though it's set aside, because someone cures the ballot. They call the person and say, hey, did you really vote this way? And they say yes, and then they put their ballot back in the right thing.
mimic that.
CoverGirl is releasing the new Trump tan this holiday season. Really? I have the new, why is Rudy Giuliani the same color as my French press?
That here by saying that all mail-in ballots,
Thanks for the stars, guys.
these new numerous mail-in ballots, now we're going to have for the first time, they had to be observed by both parties. Different states use slightly different languages. Both parties have to be present. Both parties have to observe.
Yeah, we know this rundown. We're all watching the goddamn news. You're the supplement. You're not the news. See, I don't fill in a lot of the outside stuff unless we, stumble upon, like, when Trump is saying he passed the VA Choice Act, which he says like an asshole all the time, lying to and about vets. Like, I'll bring up the VA Choice thing and go, because on the news, they don't tend to do that. So I add that piece of information to the conversation, but I don't backfill all the news story or set you up like, listen, we're about to watch a video of Donald Trump. He has an egregious history of not lying. We know this. We all watch the news. So this is trying to make it look like he's being fair here. And he's gonna go completely and run around the whole idea that there weren't Republican observers in the room, which there were. There just weren't Trump campaign last-minute gun-toting psychopaths barging in the middle of the night that were allowed.
Both parties have to examine, but the end result is, as the court in Pennsylvania has already decided, whether we're talking about being present, being able to observe, being able to see, it means having the ability to see the markings on the envelope so that you can make a choice as to whether or not it's.
How would I consider being White House press secretary? Absolutely. But they would never have me because I swear too much.
Valid or it's invalid. And that's the only time.
Why is Trump not allowing people to buy stock in any company in China? That's not up to him. There are Chinese companies that have stocks in our stock market. He does not have control over that. A lot of the companies that the Dow is worried about as far as selling stocks, it's because there's no way to verify their financial quality. It just isn't.
Time you can make that choice. It's the only guarantee that ballot is real or secure, is when you look at that envelope.
Thanks,
if you
Billy.
deny the opportunity to see that envelope, you virtually have completely negated the process of security, and you've rendered the ballot, under the law of Pennsylvania and Michigan for sure, unlawful.
That's not true.
Illegal.
No, it's not true.
This happened in the case in Pennsylvania. It happened in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. Well,
You know, where all the black people live.
over 600,000 times. By that I mean over 600,000 times.
By the way, which one of these iPads is open to Pornhub, and which one is open to Kayleigh McEnany's personal blog? Left to right, what do you think?
The ballot was examined, it was looked at, the envelope was separated, and it was put in the voting bin, and the envelope was done away with. And no Republican, in fact, in many cases, no Democrat, got a chance to look at it. Because everyone.
What he's doing is he's mixing states' rules about what's on their privacy envelope, what information is on their privacy envelope, versus the information that's on the ballot itself.
Every once in a while,
So he's taking Michigan rules and applying them to Pennsylvania timescapes, and Pennsylvania rules and applying them to Michigan timescapes, and hoping you don't notice.
might be a Democrat who
What is he doing with his hands? I think he's dreaming of fondling Borat's daughter.
isn't reliable and might tell the truth. In fact, there is one. Totally unlawful. For 600,000 ballots. Every single one of those ballots is unlawful. And
Okay, here, Rudy, please find names of 20 of the people on those 600,000 ballots. Pick them out. You can tell they're listed. And go door to door in black neighborhoods in Philadelphia saying, "I'm Rudy Giuliani and I think your ballot's full of shit." After the third door, when your car is set on fire.
And there's no reason to believe that many of them weren't phony ballots.
Yes, there is. There's lots of reasons to believe. They were ballots sent to people that were registered to vote. Their signatures matched. The people voted. They voted before. Most of those people vote in person, chose to vote by mail. It's a heavily Democratic area. Why wouldn't they go? The question is, why aren't they curing ballots in red counties?
Remember, on election night, Trump was ahead in Pennsylvania by 700,000 plus votes.
And there was a rule that they couldn't start counting the mail-in votes until the next day, meaning midnight.
That's an enormous lead.
Not in a state that big.
That's a lead.
It is in Kentucky. It's more than the friggin' population practically.
Very hard,
So it's about 2/3.
if at all, able to be made up by legitimate voting. Mathematicians can differ somewhat, but most of them would tell you it's anywhere
Most mathematicians.
from 100% to 99% impossible to make up that with legal voting.
Clearly not.
Which is why in Philadelphia and in Pittsburgh, when the
Where
Republicans
all the people live.
showed up that morning to do their duty as inspectors or whatever, observers or whatever you call them, different states call, they were put in a corral easily 20 feet away from where this process was going on. They were not allowed to get any closer. Anytime they got any closer, they were pushed back, threatened with arrest.
Yeah, because they didn't have the right to be there. Then they went to court. The judge said, "Okay, yeah, they can do it. This is effectively the same as them filing ahead of time, but they want to watch. They can be 6 feet away." And guess what? They were 6 feet away, and still the count kept going up.
And
Rudy is the color of baloney. If you leave it on a windowsill, maybe.
during that process, well over 3,000 ballots went through, according to the testimony and the affidavits of the witnesses in this lawsuit called Trump against Bakhvar, which is
Trump against Bakhvar, pay-per-view. Oh, this is their filing, the one that just got thrown out.
filed in the United States District Court for the Middle District of Pennsylvania. This lawsuit asserts that
By the way, he's Trump's lawyer, but he had nothing to do with the drafting of this.
when the testimony is put in, that well over 6,000 ballots, let me first go to Philadelphia, about 3,000 in Philadelphia, were examined, opened, and put in the voting bin without observation by an independent observer, Republican or Democrat, but certainly not Republican.
Are they false? Are they false ballots? Have you called any of the people in those ballots? I mean, you obviously know the number. So what time of day were they put in?
The envelope contained anything, much less information that would suggest that it's a secure ballot.
I see. So dead Pennsylvanians are now mailing in empty envelopes just so that there can be a magic trick where the vote tally volunteers will take a ballot that they've filled out themselves, throw the envelope over here, and I'll just put in whatever vote I want.
Again, under the law of Pennsylvania, outlined in this lawsuit, that is an unlawful ballot.
Nope.
The lawsuit also contains then many instances of.
By the way, in the order, objection, Your Honor, and by Your Honor, I mean anyone else listening to this, not Rudy Giuliani. At no point did the judge, in their finding that allowed them to be 6 feet away, nullify any ballots or have any of the ballots disqualified for not being able to be viewed by Trump campaign officials. Not a one.
Of fraud. Situations in which.
Where in that lawsuit, you got a bunch of paper in front of you, show me where it says that the judge said any of those ballots are unlawful.
On 20 or 30 occasions, a witness observed the backdating of ballots that came in late. Justice Alito, in this case,
Nope.
Which had reached
That's a lie, too. They're just continuing to
the
say that.
Supreme Court earlier on, made a ruling that all ballots had to be in by 8 o'clock on November 3rd.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He said they have to be set aside if they go in afterwards, meaning there should be a differentiation between any ballots that were driven in as in-person ballots from another site, if indeed the electoral college or the elector's office, rather, has a separate site, like in Michigan or Wisconsin, and so you're upstate and you have to take your ballots, and they were brought in, instead of being brought in over the course of the day, if there's some that were brought in after the close of the polls, but they were brought in physically from another site as in person, they have to be set aside and reviewed just to make sure that they're solid because they come from that state. So the county official comes in with them, they drop them off, it's 9 o'clock because they drove in the last batch. People were still in line, by the way, voting, so they brought these extra ones, and it's like dozens at best. They brought them in, they set them aside. The court said, yeah, they should set them aside. And Michigan said, yeah, that's what we do. We set them aside. And then we count them, and we talk to the elector in that place and go, were these cast before, the close of polls in your district? And they go, yeah. And they go, can you sign here? And they go, yeah. And they sign it, and then they count the ballots. This is so dumb.
Any ballots that came in after 8 o'clock on November 3rd had to be put aside and not counted.
And they were.
Counted.
No. And no. They were put aside to be reviewed, not to not be counted. He can't show it. Ugh. Is this the face he showed that poor girl? By the way, the evidence he just showed, remember, he's holding up the same pile of paper. This is the same pile of paper. He didn't reach over and get another one with a red clip on it. The evidence that he's talking about, I've got lots of evidence, is this case about the set-asides that was ongoing.
To have a further argument as to the legality or whether an extension would be allowed.
And it was.
Well, that was honored in the breach. There are 4 or 5 witnesses so far, probably more by the time we get to trial, that on any
They're not going to get to trial. Well, they've been to trial. They're not going to get to another trial.
number of occasions, they saw ballots that were backdated. In other words, they were dated the 4th and the 5th, and they would remarked the 3rd, and then put in the process and counted as if they had come in on time, in complete violation of Justice Alito's order. Again, another unlawful act.
Yeah, no. That's I heard this dude told me that this one time that this totally happened. This guy said that he heard this guy say there's double hearsay in all of these affidavits. That's why the judge threw them out. It's not the person. I was a direct eyewitness. I saw it. I saw the backdating. No, I heard from another person who told me one case they brought in a post-it note, and the judge told him to go pound sand.
A little harder to quantify, but certainly gives you the sense of the out-of-control behavior
Of your makeup artist?
in Philadelphia and in Pittsburgh, which, by the way, was not going on in most of the rest of the state,
Uh-oh, he's taking his glasses off. This is serious.
where the process was orderly, people were allowed to observe, people were allowed to watch. And when I say most of the rest of the state, that's most of the state that voted in large numbers for Donald J. Trump. Whereas Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh
Black people. Oh, Pennsylvania, by the way, and Pittsburgh? You mean Philadelphia?
were places where Biden got anywhere from 8 to 6 out of 10 votes. Very large pluralities for him.
Yeah, that's because they didn't cure the ballots in the red counties, which would have raised his number overall.
So you can hide an illegal vote or illegal votes very easily in a situation like that.
In the darkness of Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. Very dark there, and you can hide your ballots amongst the darkness.
There also are examples of ballots that were cured without anyone being notified. In other words, there was something wrong with it, and they fixed it up. They fixed up the ballot so that it would say Biden. There were
So they voted. That's not curing a ballot without anybody's. It went into the machine. The dot wasn't fully filled in. Is that what you're saying? And they finished filling in the dot so that it would be clear because that person actually chose to vote for them. Did they erase one of them and do that? Is that what you're alleging?
were observations of the counters actually, in many cases, taking no even look at the envelope beforehand to determine
Oh, we go, Mommy Chickson. I'm not worried about this. This is horse shit.
if it was secure. So not only did we have a Democrat or a Republican independently reviewing it, in many cases, the counter, the government official counting, didn't bother to look at the outer envelope, just took it, opened it, and took it, opened it, took it, opened it, took it, opened it.
How do you know this if you didn't see it? How do you know there was no one witnessing this? How do you witness this?
In other words, did no examination of security. Again, those numbers are not yet specified, but they were significant. This would be a good time to take a short break.
Oh no.
If you want,
Ew! God damn it. Why does this weird sucking sound he makes at the beginning of this? I'm sorry to do this to you guys, but Christ. Why is he ballot-splaining? Because he has to make it sound official when they come up and go, this is not what, this is totally but this is terrible. You got to make it sound like he's been paying attention. The problem is every time it's just like when they show on OAN and all this shit, they're like, no one was allowed to look. And they show B-roll of nonstop ballots. Like, it's ridiculous.
but they were significant. This
Listen
would be
to
a
this
good time
noise.
to take a short break.
Listen to this.
If you want a
Oh, God.
good cigar, go to a good cigar shop. You want the best, go to Famous Smoke Shop. Let Famous
We do this shit every time.
That's 80 years experience in the cigar business. And they're putting that experience to every day. Go to Famous Dash to apply the promo code. Pick from more folks, climate control.
Again, this ad alone has to pay for a new Apple Pen.
Check out with the promo code
It's so nasty. This isn't lung cancer. You don't get lung cancer from this. This is mouth and throat cancer.
Rudy 20. That's Rudy, R-U-D-Y, 20. And get $20 off your order. Every cigar purchase you make is backed by the famous freshness guarantee.
There's nothing fresh about a cigar smoker. Ew.
Many more allegations of impropriety.
Allegations? Tell me it isn't so. You know what I heard? Let's see. There's allegations. There's some. The word reminds me of something. The word allegations. Let's see. Let's see if I can find this. Allegations. There's something along here. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Here it is. Allegations. Something. This is sort of like, I don't know why the word keeps coming up. Keeps coming to mind in this. Yeah. Renewed. That's where it was. Renewed attention was brought to the allegations amid the Me Too movement and national conversation concerning sexual misconduct. Trump has repeatedly denied the accusations, announcing his accusers as liars. In June 2019, columnist E. Jean Carroll accused President Donald Trump of sexually assaulting her by forcing his penis inside her at a Bergdorf Goodman dressing room in the mid-1990s. And in September 2020, model Amy Doris said that in 1997, Trump forcibly kissed her, groped her all over her body, and gripped her so tightly she couldn't get away. So yeah, allegations. I mean, if we're going to go through the Pez dispenser of things that are alleged, why wouldn't we get this one out of the way and then move on, perhaps? See, there it is again. There's that word, allegations, right there. Yeah. Yep, allegations. There it is. Allegation. And yeah, there it is again. The word. We feel like these allegations. Yeah, there we go. There you go. Yeah. So something along those lines. You know, it's just the word allegation. It just kind of, I don't know, just popped into my head. I can't really tell you why. Just kind of, you know what I mean? Like you're thinking about something and like a word just gets stuck in your head when you say allegations. This is true, Brad.
Many more allegations of illegal conduct, many more allegations of fraud.
But enough about your legal career.
When the phony fake media and the phony fake politicians say to you there's no
The phony fake. Is that a double negative? Does that mean they're not fake? Oh, shit.
hard evidence of fraud. There are 50 witnesses so far to this lawsuit.
Yeah, one of them is a convicted sex offender, and you brought him to a parking lot of a landscaping company. The dude showed his dick to a 7-year-old girl and a 10-year-old girl. He was your first choice. You had other people. You had 50 witnesses. You brought 6 of them, and the first dude to the mic is the guy who showed his dick to children. After you just got busted tucking your dick.
There are affidavits. There are.
Honest to God. You know how many lawyers there are in this country, and Donald Trump can't find somebody better than this dick heel?
There's a large amount of evidence of fraud in the Philadelphia case, and it's only growing. But the main reason.
Money rules everything on both sides and in the media. Then that's literally, that sentence means nothing.
That this case should be overturned.
He was by the dump site trying to find one, but the FBI knew they were doing it. Oh.
This vote should be overturned is we're well past the mark in the small margin of victory. And we have a very, very highly circumstantial situation that he was behind, Biden was, by 700,000 votes.
Notice that number grows every time he says
and
it.
We can count 630,000 that were put in unlawfully. Sounds like a pretty close.
No, you can't.
Equation of the two things.
Oh, Steve Dallas would be great.
Doesn't it? Worse than that, you'd say, well, this only.
The Department of Homeland Security said the election was the most secure in history. Clearly true. They are all grifting money off your emotions regardless of your political bent. Clearly not true.
This only happened in Philadelphia, which is the capital of voter fraud. I mean, Philadelphia has 60.
What book isn't grifting money off your emotions driving you to finish the story? Or I mean, real crime drama. Are they lying because they're telling you who Ted Bundy was?
Year history of voter fraud. Recently, a conviction of several officials there for voter fraud. I mean, just as a matter of interest, Joe Frazier, the former heavyweight champ, has voted in Philadelphia after he died. The grandfather of the actor Will Smith has voted in Philadelphia before he died. So it'd be unusual in an election of this consequence that
Okay, they tell this story anecdotally. I'm going to go with local election. If it's happened multiple times on a federal election, that would be the governor and the Secretary of State's problem. I'm going to guess they purged the dead people from their voter rolls in general. I don't know if there's enough dead Joe Fraziers to toss an election.
Philadelphia wouldn't cheat. It's hard to think of a big election in which they didn't. But at this level,
Black people, what the heck?
It's disgusting. And at this level, it has an impact on the vote of the overall state. When you take out those unlawful votes.
Well, what if you put back in all the voters that were disenfranchised by red counties not counting their mail-in ballot?
Trump won this state by something closer to that 700,000 he was ahead.
Oh, he just said before he died? Interesting.
Maybe 300,000 votes. This was basically a landslide victory that was stolen.
Sure. Keep telling yourself that.
By not allowing.
This was a great makeup job, too.
Republicans.
Also, they've never made an improvement on the Apple Pencil.
Uniformly for 2.5 days.
He said before he died, oh God.
To observe the ballots. So, you'd say, well, that's the only place it happened, so what? Well, only one place. Well, now we move to the state of Michigan.
Okay.
In the state of Michigan, we've got a similar.
Why did you move in closer? Why? Why would you do this to me?
And yet
why would you show me the big blotchy thing on the top of his head like that? That clearly they're showing some sort of like head wound where they feathered the orange makeup back off of his head. Look, why? Why would you do that to me?
A different situation. In the state of Michigan, we have, again, 40, 50 witnesses, 20, 30
same people
affidavits that say at the center in Detroit, none of the rules were followed. First of all, numerous Republican observers who have given us affidavits under oath
that if given half a chance, they would abduct the governor and shoot her in the head on a bridge.
And will be part of the lawsuit, say that they were prevented from going through the same observation that happened in Philadelphia and in Pittsburgh. And I should have mentioned about Philadelphia that the numbers in Pittsburgh are about 330,000, where something very similar happened in Pittsburgh.
You mean black people voted? People who lived in the city voted by mail? Because black people and Hispanic people die at a higher rate from COVID, so they tended to vote more by mail than they ever have before?
So two places in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. Now
the biggest population centers, the places that carry the entire state financially.
We're talking about Detroit in Michigan. In Detroit, we have numerous poll watchers, observers, whatever you want to call them, who will testify that they were
assholes
prevented from seeing the ballots, that the ballots were handled in a very, very cavalier manner. They were hardly examined. They were
they grabbed by the pussy at any point? I'm just trying to
thrown into the pile.
I don't want to.
That many, many times they saw ballots that didn't.
Oh my God! I don't. The secondhand dude saw a guy doing something that may or may not have been a bad thing. This is not flying as evidence. Show me the shit. Give me some pictures. Fly up some video. We've got 2 iPads open, and neither one of them is putting graphics on the screen.
Equate to the voter registration list.
Why are they open? Has he flipped past one thing? They don't stay awake this long.
And they saw creation of a new name put into the voter registration list. The number of times there, hundreds, thousands, can't tell you exactly.
So they stood there hundreds of thousands of times while they entered in fake people into the voter rolls and never whipped out their camera on their phone. They saw this hundreds of thousands of times.
But there are many affidavits to that effect. But certainly, again, like in Pennsylvania, the numbers of votes that were unobserved, as required also by Michigan law, are well in the hundreds of thousands. More than enough to change the result of Michigan again.
Or make it worse for you. Both pads are on the fans only. Yeah, he's on OnlyFans right now. He's got. Who do you think? Okay, chat room. Rudy has 2 OnlyFans sites up on his iPads. Who are they? Hold on, and I also want to look up one thing real quick. Let's see. Let's see. No one observed Michigan ballots. Let's see if we can find the actual story he's referencing. Misinformation in election-related misinformation. Here you go. Let's see. No evidence invalid ballots were smuggled into Detroit County Hub, which is what he's alleging, these magic ones. Viral video and images purported to show a man bringing in late arriving ballots into the TCF Center. That was actually a camera gear. He was from WXYZ, the best named local station in the entire country. More than 100 GOP challengers observed the Detroit count. On Wednesday, both Democratic and Republican challengers were prohibited from entering the area where Detroit election workers were counting absentee ballots at TCF. That's because the number of challengers already observing the process had reached capacity. These assholes showed up late, did not sign up. Even after election officials barred both Democratic and Republican challengers from entering the room, more than 100 Republican challengers remained in the counting area to monitor the count. More. Trump lawsuits come despite relatively drama-free election in Michigan. A Detroit man who died in 1984 did not vote via absentee ballot. A viral post claimed that a Detroit man who died cast an absentee ballot. The man, William Bradley, was born in 1902, passed away in 1984. His son, also named William Bradley, said he lives in the same house where his father used to live. Daniel Baxter, a consultant from the Detroit Department of Elections, said there was a clerical error when the younger Bradley's absentee ballot was processed by the clerk's office. When his ballot was initially logged, it was incorrectly attributed to the William Bradley born 118 years ago through a clerical error. Detroit didn't have more than 2,500 dead people registered to vote. Biden did not receive 100% of the 138,000 votes counted in the middle of the night. That one was Decision Desk headquarters. That was never produced. A since deleted tweet post posted by Matt McCowiak, a conservative commentator and chair of the Texas Travis County Republican Party, showed that during one results update in Michigan, Joe Biden received more than 138,000 votes early Wednesday morning with no votes accruing to the other presidential candidates. That didn't happen. He posted outdated data from Decision Desk HQ, an election data company that contained a clerical error from Shiawassee County's presidential vote count, which was quickly remedied. An hour-by-hour update from the Associated Press data shows that there was no point in time when President Donald Trump did not post an increase in votes. Definitely Kayleigh McEnany and furries galore. That might be true. Although the furries thing that people made, the video that they posted from VR furries or whatever. I don't think he would like that very much. Pallets of bricks in Detroit for construction, not riots. Poll workers in Michigan were not double counting ballots. In a speech Thursday night, Trump claimed that poll workers in Michigan were duplicating ballots. Rudy Giuliani just said that shit, the same thing. But there's no evidence of wrongdoing. In Michigan, voters in the military, overseas, or with certain disabilities are emailed ballots that clerks have to replicate into the correct ballot format in order to be properly read by the ballot counting machines. The process is time intensive because the ballots have to be recreated, but they are only counted once. Sharpies did not disqualify ballots. UAW did not offer to pay Republican poll observer to vote for Biden. Allegations of post office election fraud in Michigan don't hold up. Video of ballot stuffing is not from a Flint polling place. It's from Russia. Why always from there? There has to be, I mean, is it because they're white? Video purportedly showing election officials stuffing ballots in Flint wasn't taken at a Flint polling site. The video posted on Facebook shows election workers depositing ballots in a collection box. It uses shading to spotlight the box, suggesting that the entry of the ballots was improper. Brian Larkin, chief of staff of the city of Flint, told PolitiFact, "This is absolutely not a Flint polling site. Instead, it appears to show an election in Russia. A double-headed eagle crest, common on the Russian Federation's coat of arms, appears both on the ballot box and on two nearby voting booths." But please tell us more about Michigan.
Again, a state in which the president was ahead by 5%, 4%, 5% the night before. But Michigan then has two unusual incidents.
Dun, dun, dun.
This was a matter of rumor right at the very beginning. Now it's a matter of proof. Somewhere around 4 o'clock in the morning, given the cavalier way in which ballots were handled here, and let me show you a picture of a delivery of ballots through the back door. You tell.
Uh-oh. Are we sure this didn't come off an OnlyFans site? Show us a picture of ballots going in through the back door.
Tell me if these look like ballots that come from a machine somewhere or from a polling place, or do they look like these ballots were made up in a crooked Democrat machine politician's living room?
Okay, I'm gonna have to decide. Which do these look like again? I'm sorry, wait. What are my choices?
Ballots that come from a machine somewhere or from a polling place, or do
Okay.
they look like these ballots were made up in a crooked Democrat machine politician's living room?
I don't know. Do they have big mustaches? Are they wearing gay pride shirts and have Black Lives Matter stickers attached to them?
There's one picture.
Looks like some cardboard boxes.
I hope that's up on your screen.
It is. Why did you not put any of the other shit? Okay, we now know you're capable of putting shit on the screen. Why in hell are you not putting the evidence?
That shows you the boxes. By the
Boxes.
way, the law of Michigan requires
That no one use boxes in the city of
that
Detroit.
those ballots should be in a wooden box, double sealed. That alone is a misdemeanor, which you're looking at right there. That's
Am
a
I?
crime.
And I know those are boxes of ballots. Like how?
Now-
What's the metadata on that? Are you going to print that? Are you going to put that on the side?
Now we have the ballots actually exposed. This becomes now a felony by the deliverers of ballots.
So you're going to, because they didn't have wooden boxes?
Do they seem to look like officials of the government in a very careful
Now, granted, Rudy has been disqualified because of wood before.
way delivering ballots from a machine? Or do they look like his?
Why are these papers stained? Come on. Yeah, I want to decorate my living room like that of a crooked Democrat machine politician. What might that look like? Well, it certainly wouldn't be any wood, Rob. Look at this. He pulls these papers apart. Look, this is gross.
Way delivering ballots from a machine.
Yeah, coffee, look at that. That's yellow.
Or do they look like here's a couple more ballots needed so we can catch up on Trump?
Is that what that looks like? Dude, pose with some ballots. Print these out. Get them to us.
What do you say?
I would say that is two men standing next to a pile of paper, probably sample ballots, taken for the 2 days before the election in an attempt to discredit the entire election. Prove me wrong. Also, the other guy's on his phone.
You decide.
Okay, I decided. I decided that that's a copy double-spaced of your lawsuit laying on the ground.
And then these ballots, in complete violation of the law of secrecy of voting, are left out on the street wide open.
Are there any markings on those? I don't see any. But it's 02101. Are these sample ballots we're looking at, Rudy? That's what we're looking at, aren't we?
Of secrecy of voting are left out on the street wide open. That's the way crooks handle ballots.
How do I know that those two guys aren't friends of Candace Owens and that they aren't black guys who support Trump? I heard Trump did way better with black males this time.
That's the way professional voter thieves handle it.
Do they? Really? The high-dollar professional voter thieves? They leave the shit on the ground? They're sample ballots. They're sample ballots.
And they had to do it in this case because they had to make up big numbers quickly, bigger than they thought. You know, the Democrats were planning for this, but they weren't planning for 800,000 ahead in Pennsylvania. They weren't planning on a 5% lead in Michigan.
Were you planning on being behind by 140,000?
And a 9.
A what? Ocean's illiterate.
They weren't planning on a 5% lead in Michigan and a 9% lead in Wisconsin.
A 9%.
A lot of cheating had to be done.
Really? Yeah, yes, that's true. There had to be a lot of cheating if you wanted to stop people from counting legal ballots as they came in through the mail.
And the mail ballots gave them the opportunity to do it.
Professional voter thieves? Did they steal actual voters? Yes, they've kidnapped voters.
Now, what I just showed you leads to a very, very important incident.
Okay.
In which we have 3 affidavits for people who are there and 1 statement from a person who's a whistleblower who is still nervous about coming forward. But here,
Why? Why? What's going to happen to them? Why are they nervous about coming forward? Because they're lying? Honest to God. Like, there's no Democrats who are going to threaten this dude's life. He would be coming out to the benefit of the president. The question becomes, good sir.
But here's the evidence that would be presented in court,
Okay.
at least by the 3 who are already under oath. Somewhere around 4 or 4:30 in the morning, when a whole shift was changing, a whole group of ballots came in, amounting to something close to 100,000 were brought in the middle of the night through the back door, not the...
Through the back door.
Moon River. Whew. Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time?
normal door they came in. Ballots
It
that
was not a normal door. It was round.
looked and were packaged similar to that. They were then thrown on the table, and they began counting them very, very quickly and very loudly, thinking there weren't too many people there. And as far as we can tell, going into the thousands and thousands of names being called, there was only one name being called, and that name was Joe Biden.
Oh, okay. We're going. This is the thing from before. This is where you go. The 130. This is this part. This is the fake 138,000 ballots that were all for Biden. They're backdrafting this story. So what you're watching is this guy Matt McCoyak tweeted this out. And then they went around and found some people to say it actually did happen. And then he had to take his thing down when he realized it wasn't from the actual voting place. It was from Decision Desk, and they just mistyped it. It's all ball bearings nowadays.
In fact, many of these ballots didn't even have a down ballot. They didn't have any Democrats or Republicans voted for below.
Yeah, they just voted for Biden and nobody else.
Biden, 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 Biden. Several
They were just yelling Biden, 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 Biden.
people who had remained behind went up and observed them. They were all giving us affidavits, and they say all they saw was a sea of Biden votes. And then one woman who is still a whistleblower.
Uh-oh. Now you've done it. It's a woman. Holy shit.
Who was on the inside of this.
Was she inside the back door? I mean, times have changed.
Has given information.
Uh-huh.
And we are working on trying to solidify that, like the 3 affidavits we have.
Sure. Yeah.
That it was in fact 100,000 votes, and it was all for Biden. And when she reported it, she was basically fired.
Well, if she's fired, why is she afraid to come forward as a whistleblower? Don't you use secret whistleblower status to keep your job? Probably the bypass line.
This is egregious.
It is. This is egregious. What we're watching is a heaping pile of egregious.
This is not just a usual voter.
Yeah, apparently they were sitting there going, Biden, 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 Biden. How did that get in there? Biden, 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 Biden. Hello, Biden, 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 Biden. Yeah, no, I can't take a call right now. I'm counting. Yeah, they just came in here with a whole pallet of these things. Biden, 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 Biden. Okay, bye-bye. Biden, 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 Biden. Shh, why? Everybody left. Biden, 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 Biden. No.
Voter fraud. I mean, 600,000 unlawful ballots at a minimum.
Yeah, while you're making it up, why don't you make it 800,000? I'm too loud, sorry.
Pennsylvania. Philadelphia turned into a voting fraud capital, the seat of our democracy. Enough votes to overturn the 20 electoral votes in Pennsylvania. I mean, that vote.
No, it didn't overturn them. It gave them to the rightful winner of the state.
That state was won by Donald Trump.
No, it wasn't. You don't win until they're finished counting the ballots.
Stolen by the crooked Democrats.
Terrible.
And then we go to Michigan.
He's finally using his iPad though, and he's not even. What is this? Well, to be completely fair, it's probably not his iPad. It's probably somebody in productions, and they said, "Look, you can use my iPad, but use your own goddamn pencil and don't touch my screen. You disgusting man. I don't know where your hands have been." And he's bleeding. Look at his finger. Okay, last time it was ink. This time, he's cut himself somehow. I mean, that's got to be a zipper scratch, I'm guessing, right? That's ridiculous. Thanks, Michael. Have fun.
We've got the same things going on. Republicans put in corrals. Republicans not able to see hundreds of thousands of ballots.
Yep. They're all put down like cattle.
Which should be declared unlawful.
All of them shipped to Stockton in a tractor trailer.
Then we get this amazing scene of 100,000 ballots brought in at 4 a.m.
Why does he look like he's being held up?
Which appear to be.
And why is his ring lopsided? I know, this is stupid.
As far as
his rings are always to the side.
You can tell.
Is it like raking it to the side like a fedora?
All for Biden, or overwhelmingly for Biden. In fact, a witness who, the whistleblower, who hasn't been able to testify yet.
Why don't you just give us her initials, asshole? Now that you've told people whether she's male or female.
Basically says it totally reversed the vote from the night before. Left.
You mean the ballots that were coming in, that were mailed in or brought in from another site at the actual counting place, added up to being more, and then it went back to, it vacillated over time in Michigan until Biden took the lead?
Left. Vote Trump ahead. By the morning, Trump behind by the margin of these votes that all came in the middle of the night, that all seem to be, if not all, overwhelming majority seem to be for Biden.
You mean Biden voters?
Let's take a short break as you digest these facts.
That's what I needed. Guys, we needed to take a break so we could digest all these facts. Because, I mean, there's no way that these facts work their way through your colon without a little bit of damage. I'm just saying.
How bad is it? Your back,
Terrible.
knee, or neck pain? My knee pain was awful.
I don't doubt it. How was your face? Why? Okay. What happened to your hair from the last time we... All right, never mind.
I probably tried the same
can't break
things
this
you're
down every
trying to
goddamn
manage
time.
your pain. Topical ointments, pain relievers, fish oil, but nothing worked. Then I tried Omega XL. And here's why.
Why?
The underlying cause of painful, achy joints and muscles is inflammation.
Is looking at you.
The key is to knock
Right,
down
my bad.
inflammation before it causes permanent damage.
Oh.
Backed by 35 years of to doing painful XL.
Wait a minute. What does that
Points
shit
to
say
the
on there?
XL
Hold on.
does.
Pause. A powerful essential fatty acid combination from the pristine waters of New Zealand. Oh, interesting. He's hawking a product from New Zealand. You know, the country that treated COVID as real and managed to get down to 0 cases before any other country on the planet. You know, it's like a circle, but like a freaky circle. I'm just saying. Apparently, since he's been taking this, he's aged horribly. Do not take Omega XL. You will age terribly in under a year. These orange pills will turn your face orange. Maybe we figured it out. Look at that. Look at what color the pills are. Look at the face. Look at the pills. Look at the face. I'm sorry. Okay, we'll get on with it. This is too much of this shit already. Please don't have another commercial
One last
break.
thought, because there's
Okay, if only.
plenty to this, and we'll be talking about this in future episodes
Oh, good.
as these lawsuits
I won't be back. I've been trying, like every time I watch, I'm trying to get new information and there is none. It's annoying me.
abroad. So the lawsuit now is started in Pennsylvania. It's in the Middle District of Pennsylvania.
No, it died.
The lawsuit in Michigan. Actually, there are two lawsuits
Why
in
am I
Michigan.
helping?
There's a lawsuit, a state lawsuit, brought by the Great Lakes Legal Council, which is a private organization,
Of mostly fish.
which is the one that contains the detailed allegations of the Biden votes that came in and were counted, and only Biden,
I can't wait to see the evidence.
that allowed him to catch up.
Oh, allowed.
That's brought by a private group, not even a Republican group. And it has
Hundreds of thousands of people, Deborah, watch this shit, allegedly.
40, 50 affidavits and witnesses.
Yeah, it's the same number. And by the way, they had 50, they said 50, they repeatedly said 50, they keep saying 50 over and over again, and then he starts saying 40, 50. Are they losing some of these? Are people recanting and they're just trying to back out?
Including 3 key witnesses to that event. And then the suit that's brought by the president is going to be, and is in the Middle District of...
How long before we see a strung out hooker in the background? You mean another one? We saw one reflected in the window last time, allegedly.
I believe it's it's the Western District of Michigan. And that's the case in which we ask that those votes be declared unlawful, be removed from the tally before there's
And the judge said, kiss my
a
ass.
certification by the state legislature. And that would award Michigan to President Trump.
And he'd still lose.
I want you to remember, under the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution that for this last year,
I don't know, Melinda.
the Democratic Party has trashed so badly, it's disgraceful.
Moon River.
Right down to the end, they're trashing it. Constitution of the United States gives the state legislature the main authority to govern elections. They set rules.
Right, this is the faithless elector clause they think they're going to do.
Every state legislature had a common rule, slightly worded differently. It was that any of these mail-in ballots, which were very suspect and very, very controversial, but all of these mail-in ballots had to be very
Wait, tell me this
slightly
again.
worded differently. It was that any of these mail-in ballots, which were very suspect and very, very controversial, but all of these mail-in ballots had to be inspected by both sides, of course, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there were people present. There were too many.
I mean, otherwise,
I have to make shit up.
we know that politicians cheat.
You are one. Of course they cheat. You wouldn't even bring a case, a RICO case against the mob unless 2020 agreed to do a profile on you, and then you didn't do it when they wouldn't, which means that the mob paid you to bring this case so they could throw some people to the wolves, so they could just go to jail and do some time to cover for their larger criminal activities, and you were helping them run a front for that. Politicians.
You give them a chance to cheat, you can't put them on the honor code.
You have none.
Certainly not in these big Democratic districts.
New York's a big Democratic district and you used to be the mayor. Are we to not trust the elections that made you mayor?
All of a sudden, is it possible on election morning when they were going to get opened,
right,
in 10 different places,
they started counting mail-in ballots?
The Democratic leader woke up and said, I got an idea. Let's put all the Republicans in corrals and not allow them to see any of the votes.
Is that how it worked out? The one thing you're missing is the last-minute nature of the decisions.
You think the...
Right. If you smoke those cigars and you buy those pills, this all makes sense to you.
The leader in Philadelphia woke up with that idea. The leader in Pittsburgh woke up with that idea. The leader in Detroit woke up with that idea. The leader in Flint, Michigan woke up with that idea, all independently.
Or maybe you assholes sent a bunch of unverified, unregistered people with no masks to be poll watchers when there were already too many in the room.
The leader in Milwaukee.
You think Trump watches these videos Rudy makes? No, there is no fucking way he watches them. And I would argue, we've gone through a few of these. There is no frigging way somebody watches these all the way through. Like, I get the Newsmax shit. It's basically like, when Fox isn't giving you the high you used to get, you go watch Newsmax or OAN. And I have no doubt that they rotate through this shit. But please, come on.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin woke up.
Dolina, never invited to join the Discord chat. Never used Discord before, but it's not accepting me. I don't know why it wouldn't. You should be able. There you go.
With that idea. Oh, my goodness. I guess even the leader way out west, the leader in Las Vegas, Nevada, woke up with that idea. The leader in Reno, Nevada, woke up with that idea. The Democratic leader in Phoenix, Arizona.
Are you getting to notice that, like, picture this. Just imagine Rudy Giuliani going, oh my goodness, all these women woke up one morning and decided they didn't want me groping them. All of a sudden, it must be them.
Arizona woke up with precisely the same idea as the leader, Democratic leader in crooked Democratic Philadelphia.
That's weird. It's almost as if you guys sent unlawful poll watchers with guns screaming bullshit and banging on windows and expected to be let in. Sheldon Adelson worked up this idea? No, Sheldon Adelson just told Trump it's over.
And like nobody else did? Or is it possible that they picked the swing states, they picked the crooked Democratic machines that exist in those states, because a lot of Democrats probably would have told you to go to hell if you asked them to do this. Because one of the...
Rudy, I'm a Democrat. Go to hell.
key affidavits come from a Democrat.
Don't point at me. Don't point at me.
Who worked in Detroit.
Don't point. It's not right.
A woman who worked her lifetime with elections. A woman who's an American patriot. She's not a Democrat or a Republican.
She's not a Democrat or a Republican? How can you be a patriot if you're not a Republican? I don't understand.
Her affidavit supports the entire thing. Weeks before, she says, they were training on how to fix the vote. Weeks before, they were fixing the early vote that came in. Weeks before, she was told when a vote comes in, don't check it, just put it right in. Don't check it, just put it right in. And on the day...
Really? They did that in full view of other human beings? I thought there was this a well-oiled democratic criminal machine. Hold on one second. It's getting dark in here because I realized the like the light's gone down in here, so I have to. All right.
Of the election, she saw Democratic workers of the city walk into the polling places with people and show people how to vote.
Oh my
By the
God.
time she got to the day after the election, she was totally disgusted. And she testifies to everything I just told you about.
But does she now? She testifies to it.
Not a Republican. Not a Republican poll watcher, not a Republican observer, not a Republican at all.
Just a Trumper.
A citizen of Detroit who is willing to come forward. And
So she was a poll watcher, but she's not a Democrat or a Republican. So not only were they letting Democrats and Republicans watch the polls, but independents as well, and people who don't have a party.
is willing to swear that the process in Detroit was a sham. It was a complete horror show. It was vote
Sounds
for
great.
Biden.
What's her
When
name?
they saw Trump vote, they
I think the hang-up is with the pencil. It's because he, like, somebody's loaning him the iPad. I don't know. Hold on one second. Let me see. Hey, what's happening? Yeah, I can't. I'm Rudy. Yeah. Can you answer? Why does he use the pencil, the old pencil, to point at one iPad, and he doesn't even use the other one? The other one's obviously new. Yeah. Now he's got two of them. He used to have one. Now he's got two. Right. No. He's got one space gray and one silver, and it's the old silver one he's using the pencil with, and he's just moving, he's pointing things out, but not moving them. I don't know why he's using it at all. What? Oh, right. The oil in his skin is acid, and it eats away at anything he touches, and so they have to, yeah. I should have figured that out. They just spray everything with a base or something like that. Butter. That's interesting. So they just have to coat everything with butter so he doesn't melt it when he touches it? That's totally disgusting. What does his spit do? Oh my God. I'll call you back afterwards. No. I gotta go. I gotta finish the show and then I gotta go throw up. Thanks. Okay, bye.
They made a face, and she says sometimes just destroyed it.
Wait, where's this edit coming from? Just destroyed it? Just threw out the thing?
It was vote for Biden. When they saw Trump vote, they made a face, and she says sometimes just destroyed it.
Oh, I don't know what's worse, making a face or destroying it. Yeah, it's basically Bob Newhart.
Before Joe Biden starts, redecorating the Oval Office, I just have to tell him, it ain't over yet.
Yeah, it is.
There's a path to victory.
No, there isn't.
It's not certain,
Yeah.
but it's logical, possible,
Nope.
given the overwhelming evidence in Pennsylvania and Michigan of massive fraud.
Overwhelming, massive fraud. Yeah. Go door to door. I need to see a reality show of Rudy Giuliani going door to door in black neighborhoods challenging votes.
Well beyond the numbers of Biden's rather small victory. And then
You mean the victory that's larger than the number of votes that Trump won those three states by, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania in the 2016 election?
the evidence that suspiciously all these states, Trump was ahead the night before, and then all of a
When they counted the in-person votes and didn't start counting the mail-in votes?
sudden behind. And then even more suspiciously, what I pointed out, the same exact process in 10 different places, but only in those 10 Democratic strongholds where
Where Democrats vote?
corruption is there, and they've stolen votes before. So when you look at those states and you look at the legal challenges
Terrible.
that exist
Yeah, the paper.
already as
Yeah, the thumb through that info right there. He's
a matter of record and with
Yeah, let's talk about Kentucky. Let's talk about 1.6 million Democrats, 1.2 million Republicans registered in the state and only 768,000 Democrats voted? I don't think so.
Affidavits, which is evidence. There is evidence of fraud. When they tell you there is no hard evidence of fraud, they are lying. Affidavits are evidence of fraud.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They're allegations. And an affidavit is not evidence. It's not. Especially if it's third hand.
Affidavits, again, I say, are evidence of fraud. They are lying to you.
No, they're not. They're not evidence of fraud. They are allegations of fraud.
As they have been for 4 years.
Huh?
The American news media is now a propaganda outlet of the Democrat Party.
You hear that, Fox News, you sons of bitches?
This is evidence of fraud.
No, it isn't. It's allegations of fraud.
Maybe true, maybe not true. Has to be.
Then it's an allegation. Then it's an allegation. Dickhead, listen to me. Evidence is true. Evidence is evidence. If it's not true, it's not evidence. This goes like to the you can't leak a lie shit we talk about all the time. What kind of listen to what this asshole just said. After all this, we've been doing this shit, this show's almost 40 minutes long. And listen to what this asshole just said about the paperwork he's holding up, which, by the way, is not the allegations, apparently. It's not the affidavits all in there. They don't have 50 people's 148 pages of affidavits in that, along with the case.
As they have been for 4 years.
Listen to this shit. He calls it evidence, says they're affidavits. Affidavits are evidence, which they aren't. But listen to this.
The American news media is now a propaganda outlet of the Democrat Party.
Mm-hmm.
This is evidence of fraud. Maybe true, maybe not true. Has to be tested in court. But this is called evidence.
No, it isn't. It's not called evidence. You can allege that it is evidence, but that does not make it evidence. As a matter of fact, it is your exhibit. It is not evidence until it's accepted as the court as being what you say it is. This nonsense is what produces future radicalized domestic terrorists. They used to be the main fringe bloggers. This stuff is dangerous at this level. No question, CSL. Dude, this is so dumb.
And we have to get around them, around the Iron Curtain of Silence to tell
the Iron Curtain of Silence.
Tell you, the American people, the truth. So let me show you a reasonable path to victory.
Okay.
For Donald J. Trump and...
All right, here it comes. All this time. Affidavits are evidence. Evidence is going to be presented in court and decided upon whether or not it's, it may be fake, but, we'll call it evidence until we figure out whether it's fake or not, even though it's your evidence, allegedly. Just an exhibit. Yes, it's just pages of the healthcare plan.
Vice President Pence.
Okay, here it is.
So,
let's run it. Let's hear the game, buddy. Come on.
North Carolina hasn't been called. It may never be called.
It was called for Trump.
So was he's won North Carolina. It's all the votes have been cast, and he's ahead by a much bigger margin than states that have been called for Biden. So I think
it's called in your map.
We can safely give him North Carolina. So that moves him to 229 to Biden's 306 electoral votes. Now let me go in the order in which it's the most egregious. Pennsylvania was
Pennsylvania, apartments.com.
An exercise in fraud that's going to be legendary and historic when we're finished. The entire Philadelphia vote count area was turned into an armed camp with corrals. Republicans were put in corrals as if
were they cattle prodded? What happened?
We were counting votes in Soviet Russia, China, or Nazi Germany.
Did they count votes in China?
And then Pittsburgh, not as bad. I mean, the reality is that Pittsburgh amateurs on voter fraud. In Pennsylvania, it's a profession.
Pittsburgh's in Pennsylvania. He means Philadelphia.
So Pennsylvania, about 2-1, total 600,000 votes.
Pennsylvania? Oh, maybe he does mean Pennsylvania.
Unlawful. That flips Pennsylvania. You can't possibly certify it. It's completely illegal and unlawful, plus a number of individual unlawful acts. So that's 20 electoral votes. That's a lot of electoral votes that take away from Biden and go to Trump. So now we're starting to get close. 249 for Trump, 286 for Biden. And all we did was give Trump North Carolina, which he has, and say that a state in which there are over 600,000 unlawful votes are going to flip. When we get to Michigan, the fraud, honestly, is broader in Michigan. Michigan's the place where the 100,000 ballots were brought in the middle of the night.
Except they weren't.
Virtually all for Biden, that looked like the ballots I showed you. And only Biden's name checked off. Biden.
Did they yell, though? That's what I want to know. Biden, 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 Biden. Hello? Yes. Biden, 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 Biden. Just put Biden, whatever it is. Yeah. Oh, pizza. Right, sorry. What kind of, yeah, we're going to be here all night. What do I want on, what do you guys want on your pizza? Biden. We want Biden on the pizza. Okay, yep. Of course, cheese in the crust. What kind of cheese? What kind of cheese we want? Kamala cheese. Thank you. Biden.
So we flip Michigan. Oh my goodness.
What are we watching this asshole do?
We flip Michigan. Trump is only 4 votes away from being reelected. Gee, what's the margin in Wisconsin? In the thousands?
Yeah, why don't you just give him states he didn't win? Why don't we just give Hillary states she didn't win by a smaller margin last time? While we're doing that.
You know how much fraud there was in Wisconsin? You know, in Milwaukee, the same thing was happening as was happening in Philadelphia, in Pittsburgh.
In the black areas?
In Detroit.
In the black areas.
This sort of pandemic of putting Republicans in corrals.
Putting Republicans in corrals. There was a pandemic of putting Republicans in corrals. My question is, were they milked or not? Because I just sense a missed opportunity.
That independently occurred to each one of these Democrats that morning. Wisconsin could be.
Oh, so this is what they're doing. They've given him. This is Rudy's map.
Easy to flip. Numbers are smaller. Evidence just as solid. That puts him over the top. Over the top. Now,
all you have to do is give him 3 states he didn't win.
If he doesn't flip Wisconsin, let's say he doesn't flip Wisconsin, then we can be pretty certain we're going to flip Nevada. I mean, it is Nevada, and the evidence there is not only overwhelming, but already part of a criminal investigation and part of an independent lawsuit, like there is in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
He gets 292 electoral votes. This is not over.
So
this is in the courts.
It's fucking
You're well
over.
within the time frame that was given to Al Gore without people being accused of all sorts of things and being threatened with losing their jobs, losing their reputation, losing
It was 500 votes difference in the state that changed the entire thing. One state.
their families and not being allowed in polite society. This is
That's okay. Polite society. Look, Rudy, you will never, ever have a place again in polite society.
this is what our liberal community has come to. It's come to a bunch of bullies who believe they have the truth. And any method can be used.
Yeah.
Voter fraud, framing a president,
slap and tickle,
defaming a human being,
tickle
destroying
bang,
General Flynn's
rusty
life,
trombone,
destroying Carter Page's life,
fuck Carter Page,
destroying the president as much as possible and his family,
Well, he doesn't need any help from me. Have you looked at him lately?
All of that is necessary because they can bring us to wonderful socialism.
Joe Biden's not a socialist.
Well, in any event, we're past that now.
Are we?
We're at the
We're past that?
counting
one.
process. We're in the courts of the United States, the greatest courts in the world.
Mm-hmm. You mean the ones they're throwing you out of?
And I predict that we have a
Mark your calendar, kids.
voter
Here it comes.
fraud theft of the century.
Well, I mean, we're only 20 years into this one. That's not saying a lot. You know what I mean? There's been none. If there were like 6 people as opposed to 4, that would be the voter fraud of the century. And then there's not going to be any, like, we got 80 years left.
Never happened before like this in America, at least not modern America.
Yeah, it has. Way worse. What are you talking about? Where do you think Chicago got its reputation?
There's a concerted effort in those states to use these mail ballots to make up the difference, knowing that Trump was going to win. And the reason it took so long is Trump won by more than they thought.
Oh, so they just had to go to work. They were like, guys.
They never thought they'd have to make up 700,000 or 800,000 votes in Pennsylvania. And
What were they preparing for? 50,000? Guys, look. I understand you guys have been complaining all week. Voter fraud, one count of voter fraud gets us each 5 years. And just by facilitating one fraudulent vote, we could all do 8 years in prison minimum, all 10 of us. But you got to understand, the margin in Pennsylvania is going to be razor thin. So I think we need to print about 50,000 votes and just be ready on the day, guys. We just got to be ready on the day. Meanwhile, 2 nights later, fuck, dude, we're going to need at least 600,000 extra ballots. I never even thought about this. Quick, crank up the mimeograph.
And that's why it got so sloppy. On election night, the Democrats panicked, and that's what led them into making mistakes like this.
I was up all night on election night, the whole goddamn night, and for the record, I wasn't panicking at all. Many of you were awake with me during those times, and thank you for the stars and support and the Patreon and becoming subscribers and all that stuff and the Venmos. That bless your hearts. Thank you guys for the Venmos. All throughout this, you'll recall, there was not a moment where I panicked. There was not a moment where I was even nervous. Truth be told. And it's because, A, I knew the vote would count towards Biden no matter what. He was going to win. I felt strongly about that. I thought the margin's even bigger, but, you know, the skullduggery they were doing in all these states is not surprising. It took a blue tsunami to have the effects of a blue wave. But I also knew that we were up against people like this asshole.
Where the votes are all over the streets.
Oh, Francie, cut me some slack.
And the votes are brought in at 4 a.m.
Yeah, that's proof. Give me the metadata. Let me see what those things are. Unfold them. Let me see them.
And just Biden, quick. It had to be done quick. You couldn't fill out the rest of the ballot. You didn't have the time.
No, you didn't have time to do that. This is not a professional endeavor. Nobody's ever going to check this.
I mean, if we woke up in the morning and Trump was still ahead by 500,000 votes, it would have been
Nobody would go back and look.
Kind of really unbelievable. It was unbelievable. So,
yes, it would be much darker at 4 a.m. Excellent point, M.M. Sheehan.
Don't listen to the phony fake media. Listen to
your bullshit?
The alternative media. You know, go.
Oh, you're the alternative media? Dude, he's so grunge.
Around it. Use your common sense. Your
See what he did there?
Common sense is going to lead you to a just result here. And finally, whatever the result here, don't let them cut it off early.
Well, don't take it out in front of her. Start wagging it around. Somebody's going to want to cut it off. Watch it.
We have to learn what happened so it doesn't
we know what happened.
Happen again.
Yes. We need to learn how Trump got elected, and we need to make sure it doesn't happen again.
This is America. A right to vote
I was absolutely right about everything, and I will continue to be.
Is the core
Except when I'm wrong, and when I am, I will admit it easily and happily.
Of our rights and our democracy. And what the Democrats did to our right to vote is disgraceful, and they should pay for it. I believe it'll overturn the election.
No, it won't.
But if it doesn't, it certainly should lead to many, many criminal prosecutions.
It won't.
Thank you. And we'll be
You're very welcome. What? Grunge me, baby. That's right.
back with you in a very short period of time, because this is going to be a busy period, and we may do some specials to get
some specials.
these facts out to you, because they're being hidden from you.
Are they? Because you've been talking about this shit for 2 weeks, and you've said the same shit over and over again. There is absolutely nothing new. This is over. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're goodbye. They didn't play the credits at the beginning. Oh my God, that was fucking painful. These assholes. Jesus Christ. But there's a reason why I called this episode Trump Delusion Syndrome, because I mean, you realize how far your head has to be up your ass to turn that color orange? Seriously. Somebody just sent me a link for Donald Trump's library. Let's see. I'm scrolling through one thing. Oh, that's lovely. Zuckerberg's not going to... Mark Zuckerberg told an all-staff meeting that Steve Bannon has not violated enough policies to be suspended from Facebook. The ex-Trump advisor is suggesting in a now-removed video that FBI Director Chris Wray and Dr. Fauci should be beheaded. So how many times do you have to suggest beheading someone before they get... I mean, seriously. Amazing. Okay, this is cool, though. This is helpful. 1 second. LA Times is now listing... I'm going to show you guys this real quick once I bring it up. LA Times has this article. I'll retweet it so everybody can grab it. At Hal Sparks if you don't hop on there and other places. Close, go away. Now you can see the COVID risk anywhere in the country in real time. The COVID-19 Event Risk Assessment Planning Tool offers a risk forecast for every county in the country. Let's see. It was conceived in March by Joshua Weitz, a quantitative biologist at Georgia Tech. The first iteration was a graph. The tool will tell you if the gathering were held today. There's an 8% let's see. To find out how likely you are to encounter a coronavirus-infected person at a friend's white elephant party, for instance, you simply open the tool, move the slider on the left of the map to the number of people you expect to attend, let's say 15, then hover your cursor over the outline of the county where the event will take place, let's say Santa Cruz. The tool will tell you that if the gathering were held today, there is an 8% chance someone will bring the virus along with a pair of novelty socks. What it can't tell you, however, is whether an 8% chance of sharing space with someone capable of infecting you is too high to make your attendance worthwhile. That decision is up to you. In a way, it's like a weather map. So if you're getting below 5%, that's pretty cool. So let's see. The tool, here it is. So it's COVID-19 risk.biosci.gatech.edu. Let me grab this real quick. Copy it. I'm going to put it in the chat room. Can't Stop Lying is on it, man. Like a beast with this thing. Like a monster with the friggin' links. Look at that. Just kabam. Totally beat me to it, brother. Amazing. But that, yep. If you go in this and you say how many people will be here, and you go into like, let's see, let's go into here. Let's go to, where is it? LA County. If you go to a party with 50 people, there is a 46% chance that someone at the party will have COVID. That at least one, it's 50-50 that there's going to be somebody, at least one, that's the other part, at least one person will be present. This is how the graph works. Based on seroprevalence data, we assume that there are 10 times more cases than are being reported, 10-to-1 ascertainment bias. In places with more testing availability, that rate may be lower, meaning that LA's risk might be lower because there's more testing going on. But Jesus Christ, look at this stuff. North Dakota and South Dakota, Fremont County, Wyoming, which is the biggest county in the state, 99% chance. Jesus. Yeah, you can zoom in. Let's go over, let's see, let me go over here. Let's see, let's go to Franklin County. That's where I went to school. 54% risk that somebody there, and let's just say there's, you go to a gathering that has 10 people. This is family gathering. This is how you decide. Look, these guys are still in the red. No data. All right, let's look at Clark County, Nevada. 21% chance, a 1 in 5 chance that that basically you'll have 2 people very possibly in Clark County. That's the Vegas area. If you go to a party with 10 people in it, odds are 2 out of the 10 have it. Jesus. And the irony that we go up here to in New York, let's see. You got 8, 10, 5%, 11%, 4%. Just incredible. Move over, you rat. Slow. But, I mean, what are we complaining about at this point, really? Getting this, like, very high, yeah, 8% in New York. Can you imagine that? If you go to a party with 10 people in it in New York City, there's an 8% chance that someone there has COVID. It's got to be in line with the clap at this point, as far as New York's concerned. Meanwhile, let's go on over here to these lovely red states that tell us how to be, and I'll have, like, South Dakota. 77%, 88% in Potter County, South Dakota. Dickey County, no surprise, 80%. A 10 times higher risk if you go to a county in South Dakota, which God knows how few people it has in it, compared to New York. That's friggin' amazing. Out of 6,000 people asked, almost 5,000 said we need to shut down. Absolutely. North Carolina, 61% in Rowan County, North Carolina, where they're about to open a musical with audiences of 50. I just canceled. I had 2 shows on the books, Kansas City and Omaha, Nebraska. And they were on the books with sort of a hope that the second wave was curtailed and with social distancing, it would be safe enough to do it. And like I said, I do my flappers gigs, and there's like 8 people in the room, including staff. And they're basically just the people videoing it, and a couple of people who watch, from far away, and they're wearing masks the whole time. It's safer than a restaurant, certainly. And I'm on the fence about those sometimes, much less of, a friggin' situation. Let's go down here. What, Catalina's got a problem? Jesus. Yeah. Oh no, okay, it's about the same coloring. It's just darker because of the outline. Okay, that's good. This is Santa Barbara County, technically. Where you go? LA County covers that. So 12%. Ventura is 7%. 10 people. You can have, having little family gatherings if you're in Santa Barbara, 4% chance. Go out to red state America where they're like, we're going to get together. You're just going to kill a relative. That's just how it works. And all these areas, like the problem areas, like Mono County, California, all edging on areas like where they don't even do any testing data or shit is bad. El Paso, 79%. Look at this. Childress County, Texas, greater than 99%. Like, there is no way you go anywhere and they're not running into somebody with COVID. I love Catalina as well. My mom is a nurse, and at one point we were talking about her maybe retiring to Catalina because they need medical personnel, and so you can retire there as if you're a doctor or a nurse, because they can use you in it's like, did you go to CVU? I did not. Yeah, mobile morgues are a big part of this. I have to bookmark this page. Thanks for looking up. No problem, Jude. So yeah, everybody wash your hands and wear a mask, please. I just went and bought a whole box of gloves again, rubber gloves for when I'm going out. I'm not messing around with any of this. Scott Wilson said, super chatted $2. How can you imagine the riots if this was reversed? Oh yeah, absolutely. If we were trying to overturn the Trump votes at the margin that there are, which are higher than his votes last time, ridiculous. All right, let's see. I'm gonna sign off, and I will see you guys tomorrow at the regular time at 3 o'clock. I will try as best I can to find more amusing stuff, but you have to understand, this is the president's lawyer. This is who's actually going to court on his behalf with this. By the way, I bought this is not one with a vent on it, by the way. This is an electronic purifier that kills germs going in and out of it. And I'll let you know how it works. But it has this little thing inside of it, and then you put, check this out. You put another, I have other filters than just this one. I have several. But you put this filter, where is it? This thing. Inside it to hold it in place. And then you put another filter on top of, it goes like this thing right here. And then another filter goes in this thing. So it's double tapped on this. And it basically wraps around your whole head here. Like that. And then this thing kind of runs as an air filter, destroying germs in and out that go around the outside. And it's pretty heavily sealed, I gotta say. So this particular kind, it's pretty cool. Like I'll let you guys know how it works and see if it's worth it. And I also, because I'm being even less trustworthy and I'm working out at home, I figured I would double down on one thing, and I got myself an altitude mask for, like a workout altitude mask. This guy, which allows you to breathe in and still filters it, and you can actually turn down the amount of air that gets in, because it's like training for altitudes, like that, to the point where there's almost no air coming in and out, makes it easier. And then you tighten this in or whatever. I like it for two reasons. One is, it's very Victor Crane.
But the other reason is because I can work out my lungs while I'm just walking around, and I'll add an extra filter in there. And it takes a long time it's a long draw. So anyways, that's pretty cool.
Just saying, it's not very swanky. It was only like 20 bucks. This was not expensive. You can get these at sporting goods stores. This was 20 bucks. And the other one was 20 bucks as well, and it's reusable. So after a while, for months, one would think that works out. I'm just saying. So, yeah. Anyways, I'll keep you guys posted. Yeah. Luke, I am your father. I have to do this. Hold on. I have to wake up for it.
I am your father, Luke. Give in to the dark side of the Force, you nap.
Take off, eh? He saw Jedi 42 times, eh? So, yeah. Thank you guys for joining me today. It's a lot, but it will last a while. And like I said, I will experiment with it and see how it works. Jennifer, thank you so much. I don't have my watch on right now, so it usually warns me and lets me know about Venmos. So I appreciate that. Amoeba Stampede. I mean, this is a great compliment. Your live streams are probably very easy to transcribe. I spent some time transcribing not so articulate higher ups, and that makes me appreciate your eloquence even more. Oh, well, I appreciate that. Thanks very much. I got rid of my southern accent in Chicago, so it's the perfect place to get a non-inflective Midwestern accent, Unless, of course, you're from Minnesota, at which time it gets increasingly hard to figure out what you're saying. All right. So, yeah. Anyways, yes, Strange Brew is fantastic if you haven't watched that. And I think I'm going to go put on my Fletch shirt and work out. I think that's what I got to do. And eat, because I have not eaten today. I'm back on full-time OMAD today, and it's been fantastic. And I always regret when I don't do it. And it's just been terrific. So, excellent. Don't forget the headband. Absolutely. I need a headband, and I need, I have my Paul Stanley, I told you, going through storage, I found it. Thank you, Melissa. Sorry, Melinda. I misread that. I apologize, Melinda. Hi. Sorry, it went by. I was reading the one below. So, yeah, this is my Paul Stanley wristband. Good if you get sweaty or whatnot. But, yeah, I've got so much work to do for Sexy Liberal that I'm starting to do, so I've got to finish a song tonight. I've been working on it. I started twice, and I didn't like how it was turning out, so I had to start again. Will we go into another lockdown? Yes. But it will be shorter, more intense, and they will set up the date for doing it. They'll go, look, we're going to do this lockdown. It's going to be 4 to 6 weeks. This bill is coming. We're going to cover you while you do it. I got to say, it's an important thing. People should be doing it. Just don't go out. Just, hey, Moto, how you doing? Just stay home if you can, as best you can. And if you're going to go out, wear a mask, goggles and gloves if necessary, but just keep yourself isolated from this thing as best you can until a vaccine comes online. I just gave you a shout out on John Fugel saying, oh, thanks so much. But just, order food and groceries in as best you can. If you have to go out, just be very careful. Be extra diligent. Clean off any surfaces that, you use commonly in the house. If you do come in contact with the virus, what you want to do is lower your viral load as much as possible. Make sure that what you're coming into contact with is a minuscule amount so your immune system has a chance to fight it off. It's the big doses that are killing a ton of the healthcare workers that are having a problem. So please, please, please take care, especially now that we're looking at a system that might get overwhelmed. I have a battery operated UV wand. We do too, Connie, and it's great. I hope so, Mason. I hope you all have a fantastic immune system, and I hope you shake it off. But I want you to know also that 1 in 6 people who've had it and survived it are getting, ancillary mental issues, anxiety, all kinds of stuff, which can be related to low blood oxygen and stuff like that. It may take a while to work its way out of your system, but they just don't know. Oh, and ODog520, please be careful and thank you so much. Do your best. Try not to be part of the problem. I'm doing good, Moto. I'm glad you're all right, man. Germs don't want your body. Well, that's the irony about smokers sometimes, because they're finding out that smokers actually are doing better. Just Sulfate already has bad anxiety. Well, it won't add to it. Just take care of it. Remember, if you're depressed or anxious, more than likely you're dehydrated. If you're angry, you're more than likely malnourished. So beyond whatever help you might get and any doctors you might encounter, and do all that work and do what you got to do. Yes, good point, Richard Custer. Thank you. Get a flu shot. Make sure you're hydrated first and foremost, and then make sure that if you're eating right. No, you're eating. But if you're eating food, make sure that whatever food you're choosing is of a high nutritional value. Because if you're angry in general, you're just not getting the nutrients. And you need to mix the two of those. Do you think a vaccine will come, I'm guessing, by mid-June? It'll be before that, Mason. It'll start rolling out in the spring. It's just about who it's available to. Yes, do some exercise. If you have excess weight, please try and lose it for your own health and for the health of others. It's just, that's what people get brutalized. The healthy at any size thing is not true. You must exercise and take care of yourself and get rid of excess weight for lots of reasons. And it's not because of the aesthetic reasons. It's your health. It matters. Yeah, smokers are doing better with COVID in the Chinese studies, largely because they don't get the overwhelming response by their immune system in their lungs because it's already given up on it. Now, it also is because they've already got, early stages of lung cancer in a lot of cases. So that's why. Yes, meditate and hydrate. That's it. So, all right. Thank you guys so much. Oh, hype train, going out the door with a hype train. Thanks. And thanks to the 300 people who stuck around with us on Twitch as well regularly. That's awesome. Even though as people, went back to their normal haunt over at YouTube. I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. If it's easier for you guys to be over there and use the chat over there, I completely understand. It's pretty great having you kind of jump back and forth between the two. Yeah, 417, look up. The 420, there's got to be some sort of a celebration, although I don't partake. Yeah, yes, indeed, eat your veggies. But stay away from whole grains. Don't get me started. If you're going to have rice, eat white rice. Ridiculous. My COPD will save me. It's very possible. I could buy a PS5 today. I'm sad. You could buy one? Are you sad because it's not coming or because they don't have them? I don't understand. Oh, you couldn't. I see. Because they're out? I don't doubt that we're haunting YouTube. It's totally true. I know I'm not I know I'm not politically correct. That's all right. Watching old James Bond movies helps too. It does, absolutely. Yes, white rice is healthier than brown rice. The husk on brown rice has been removed by every single society that has eaten rice for more than 1,000 years. They're not stupid. Yes, vitamin D, zinc. Make sure you're taking it. Please. There you go. Quinoa is fantastic. It's got a cup of quinoa has more protein than 4 eggs. Slide lice. It's the best way to have lice, quite frankly. I think they jump, right? Yeah. I love jasmine rice. I'm a fan. Damn, I think I'm out of bits. That's okay, Susie. Store up. It's okay. Do a health show. That's a good idea. We'll do that. Vitamin D is very important if you live in the north where it is colder and the days are shorter. Absolutely. Mom used to make us drink it in tea. Drink what in tea? Missed the first part of that message. Thoughts on Governor DeSantis? He's a dick and a con man. Other than that, I have no opinion. Yes. If you are African American, if you have dark skin, no matter where you're from, If you live in the north, especially, if in areas like, surprise, surprise, Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, all these areas where COVID's really been been bad, and because people's immune systems freak out, it's vitamin D is so crucial, and you don't make as much and you don't make it as fast. And if there's less sunlight and you're spending more time indoors, especially during this, you're going to need to supplement vitamin D. Get your levels checked. Obviously, check with a doctor. I'm not your physician, but for God's sake, if you're going to tell Irish people to put on sunscreen when they're in Key West, you can tell black people to take vitamin D when they move north. It's not, it makes total sense. Please do that. It will help your immune system regulate itself. Turmeric is fantastic as an anti-inflammatory. Whole chicken with white rice, it's amazing. I make basically a cheese omelet, and then I put it in a bowl with rice and just mix it all together. And it's kind of like a rice bowl with eggs. It's just fantastic. Yes, vitamin D and B12. Absolutely. And if you're vegetarian or vegan, you have to supplement with B12. It can only come from animal products unless they produce it, chemically. So you need to supplement with it, or you're going to be stressed to the friggin' gills. Now we're all getting hungry. All right, I'm going to leave, and we can all go get something to eat, and because I have not eaten in 22 hours, and it's fantastic. Yes, Bluesman, if you're vegan, you need B12. You have to. Why is whole grain bad? Because your body can't process that kind of fiber, and it tears your intestinal walls and causes a break in the barrier, in the cell wall barrier between the inside of your intestine and your abdomen. That's why. The kind of fiber you want is the bulbous soft fiber, and that's when you get from that. That's what you get from eating like celery and stuff like that, and fruit, and letting it go through your system. So there you go. What am I taking? I don't take much. I take vitamin D, I take zinc, I take resveratrol, NMN, fish oil. What else am I taking right now? That's basically it. Trying to think if there's anything in particular, because I rotate some stuff through. I don't always take it. Creatine, that kind of stuff I'll rotate through. But there you go. What's stream about tomorrow? We'll find out tomorrow. That's the thing. It goes on whatever's occurring in the news and the like. So I'll add on that. And at some point, one day, we'll get to do these about all kinds of fun stuff. I'm going to add, since we're cresting our way out of the Trump world, I'll start adding little things where we, start talking about food, nutrition, exercise, pop culture, that kind of stuff, just for fun. I don't take much proceeds to list 20 things. That's not a lot, especially as a Californian. You can get most of what your body needs through diet, lowered hubby's PSA by half when he what? Sorry, missed that. It went by 2. When he went vegan. Yes, you can, but there are some things. Yes, and gaming nights would be lovely. Alito is at the Federalist Society. Okay, well that's who got him his job. Is whole wheat the same as whole grain? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, most of the time, what they call whole wheat in terms of bread is so pulverized it might as well be white bread. It's the stuff on the outside when they've got like seeds and that kind of stuff on the outside. But as long as you masticate it, you're okay. But it's when it's in this super fine kind of it's like just eating. Yes, gaming is a great thing. I'm setting up the other room for when I can start gaming again, and I'm going to do it out of the office. There you go. Excellent, D. Marie. Fantastic. But I love the seeds. Seeds are good as long as you masticate them properly and you don't eat them pulverized in giant amounts. Is Metamucil okay? I don't take it. My mom swears by it. I'm sure it's fine to some degree. You don't want to just tear yourself up like that. And again, that's a softer, it's like rounded fiber as opposed to, ground glass. Voila! All right, so I'm gonna sign off. You guys have a wonderful night. I will see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock. It'll be a good time. And again, breathe deep. It's gonna be okay. shot. No shot. Rudy and Trump got no shot. They got no shot. No shot, no shot at all. They got no shot. No shot, no shot at all. Hey. Do I support Chick-fil-A? Hell no. Get out of here with the Chick-fil-A. That anti-gay dump. P.S. I'm from Kentucky. If I'm gonna have fast food chicken, it's gonna be the Colonel's chicken. Because for a couple reasons. A, it's my home state, like I said. But the other reason, of course, is that on my 10th birthday, Colonel Sanders baked me a cake. True story.
Well, it's a well-known fact, Sonny Jim, that there's a secret society of the 5 wealthiest people in the world known as the Pentaveret, who run everything in the world, including the newspapers, and meet tri-annually at a secret country mansion in Colorado known as the Meadows.
So who's in this Pentaveret?
The Queen, the Vatican, the Gettys, the Rothschilds, and Colonel Sanders before he went tits up.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I feel like a Kentucky Fried Idiot.
He thinks I made it up.
Unbelievable.
Every minute you don't tell us why you're here, I cut off a finger.
Mine or yours?
Yours.
Damn.
They're not allowed to be offensive, unfortunately.
Wow, a brain candy reference. Nice, Jennifer.
If you get it in order, you get extra points. Yosemites, Yosemites.
How, in the name of Zeus's butthole, did you get out of your cell?
Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts, ma'am.
All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for the Venmos. That was really sweet. I'm sorry if I didn't mention all of them today. I'll re-reference them tomorrow if I can. So stick around. Come back tomorrow. It'll be a good time. I'm planning a special holiday episode. A Christmas special, actually. Oh, you watched Oh Brother, Where Art Thou for the first time Monday? Oh my God, Richard, such a good movie. I'm planning a special, like a Christmas special, on my own, beyond the whole sexy liberal stuff that we'll be doing. Just for us. Just as a gathering. I'm gonna make up for all the holidays we're missing with our folks and with our friends. We're gonna have I'm gonna set up my computer in the kitchen and do a Thanksgiving dinner, and we're all gonna eat together. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with Christmas and New Year's. Mason, I would gladly wish you happy birthday in a month. Come back and say hi, and I will say it again, but happy birthday ahead of time. Just say no to Christmas. I love Christmas. I'm a big fan of Christmas. Sparkmas, that's right. Sparksmas. We can have a Sparks Mass. We can gather together as a mass. Which is basically what that is. All right, I gotta go. You guys are wonderful. I'll see you tomorrow.